Rogue Warrior, come out and play. Hello, Charky.
Hey, K.I.S.S.
Welcome, one and all. Welcome to the Bad Game Hall of Fame. Welcome to Rogue Warrior. This is the show in which we play Rogue Warrior. Right off the bat, Charky, what's your familiarity with Rogue Warrior? Dick Marcinko's Rogue Warrior.
My most personal experience with it is that I've tried playing it a few times, but I've never gotten too far in it, and I'm going to blame that mostly on the fact that I can only play this on PlayStation streaming, like their PlayStation 3 version, which is really not an ideal way.
I mean, there's really no ideal way to play Rogue
that's
Warrior,
true.
but especially not the PC version, which is completely busted, but that is what we'll be playing tonight, because I did some arcane shit to get it up and running.
Like, Rogue Warrior over streaming delay, no matter how slight, isn't great. Doesn't feel great.
And neither does the fully functional game running natively on a computer.
But beyond that, I remember seeing various quick looks and Let's Plays of it. I think the Chip and Ironicus LP of it is the one that comes to mind first and foremost.
I'll get into during the history section, and there is a history section. Boy, howdy is there a history section for this game, where I first heard tell of Rogue Warrior, because this is one of the big ones, as I like to say whenever we do a high-profile bad game. This one certainly constitutes. This is one of the lowest-rated games of all time, certainly one of the lowest-rated first-person shooters, notorious in bad games history, and one that I have a sort of soft spot for, in a very ironic sense. This game's dog shit. Let's just get that out of the way right out the gate. Not a good game, but one that we've written about before. badgamehalloffame.com/rogue-warrior. And one that I think cited as one of my best good bad games of the 2010s, of that decade, when I did a little listicle to that effect. So definitely one that's been, that's always on my mind. The saga of Demo Dick, and so forth.
Mr. Taco in chat says, realizing that I got the box and liking the game mixed up with Rogue Trooper. I used to do that a lot too, like mix up Rogue Trooper and Rogue Warrior. But fun fact, both by Rebellion.
Yes. We should go through the release info real quick. First release, November 27th, 2009 in Europe. Came out December 1st, 2009 in North America across Microsoft Windows, the Xbox 360, and the Sony PlayStation 3. Developed by Rebellion Developments. More on who specifically within Rebellion Developments later on in the history section. And published by Bethesda Softworks. Yes, they of Elder Scrolls. And other assorted franchises, and a rare not open world game for them. They didn't always used to be known for their open world RPGs. Occasionally they did shit like this. And we'll get into the tortured saga of their getting the rights to this game and attempting to publish it over the course of 3 or 4 years, changing hands between developers, and also some of the history on the titular Rogue Warrior himself, Richard Demo Dick Marcinko. But before we get into any of that history, before we get into the game proper, we of course have to tuck in to Charky's Stream Snack.
Alright, tonight's stream snack is Pagoda chicken egg rolls. I've had the pork ones every time I've had egg rolls on this show. So this is branching out into yet another flavor that will not kill me of the egg rolls. So let's give that a taste. I'm having trouble with the chopsticks tonight with these. I think this one egg roll in particular, of the 4 I made, did not cook evenly. Which I don't know how, considering I put them all in the oven right next to each other. But let's give it a taste.
Meanwhile, I'll be sipping off my Red Bull and vodka. Thank you very much.
It's okay. I think it has less flavor than the pork, but I think that's natural. This chicken is sort of a neutral flavored meat, all things considered. Kind of wish I had some sweet and sour sauce, but as I've said in the past, I do this show on my bed. I'm not doing sauces.
Folks, please, won't you pledge to us on Patreon, subscribe on Twitch, become a member on YouTube so that Sharky can one day afford a proper desk?
It would be nice. Our drink tonight is Alani Nu Cherry Slush, which is I don't know how many times I need to keep saying this. Probably my least favorite of the Alani Slush flavors, but still real good. You have anything else you want to add on?
No, I'm just drinking tonight, which is actually apropos given some of the details of Dick Marcinko and how he ran one SEAL Team 6.
I feel like you should be like chomping on a cigar too.
Oh yeah, that would be good. I'll just smoke after the show. I'll smoke a ciggy.
Have you ever had a cigar?
Yes,
like
of
a
course.
Proper cigar.
Yeah.
I have not. It's a price thing for the most part, I think.
Oh, they sell those swishers for like $1.
Okay, well,
cheap enough.
Okay, the thing is, I've had like little cigarillo things. I don't even count that. Like, that's not like a proper cigar to me.
A cigarillo is, though, I will say.
I quit smoking like over a decade ago, so.
God, I wish that were me.
Well,
wait till you debut Cassidy's Stream Siggy, Stream Smoke segment in the near future.
Just wait 10 and a half years and you too can be smoke-free for over a decade. Anyway, that'll do it for the stream snack.
Thank you kindly. And with that, let us cut away to the 4x3 screen, to the history section, to our slideshow, to my talking points, beginning with this candid photo of Richard Marcinko, who, let me open by saying that Richard Marcinko was a truly terrifying man. This history section, by the way, is partially brought to you by our old article aforementioned on the game. I cribbed liberally from myself, but there's also some new details in here. Things I didn't cover in the article, some more details on this man's life and the development of the game and so on and so forth that I've picked up in the 8 years since we first wrote that article. Anyway.
You know, I want to get this off, say this straight up off the bat. Dick Marcinko and Frank Dukes kind of occupy the same place in my mind.
As well they should, for reasons we will get into. Though
if you
I
don't
will
know,
say,
Frank Dukes is the guy who, you know the movie Bloodsport? Bloodsport claims to be based on a true story about the life of Frank Dukes.
Which is, of course, a bullshit story, which, again, Richard Marcinko, very familiar with. Brief biography. Born November 21st, 1940, Richard Marcinko would drop out of high school in his late teenage years in an attempt to join up with the U.S. Marine Corps, who promptly rejected him for his lack of a high school diploma. Funny that. Luckily, the U.S. Navy were apparently less scrupulous about who they bring into their ranks, so they accepted him and shipped him off to Vietnam in 1967, where he soon established himself as a member of SEAL Team 2, the prestigious SEAL Team 2. Marcinko will go on to be highly decorated in the course of his military service, including 4 Bronze Stars, a Silver Star, and a Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. By his own account, Marcinko was such a ferocious fighter that the North Vietnamese even placed a bounty on his head. "I'm good at war," Marcinko once said. "Even in Vietnam, the system kept me from hunting and killing as many of the enemy as I would have liked." Get ready for a lot of tough guy quotes coming from
well-adjusted individual.
Oh, of course. In 1974, after 2 tours in Vietnam, Marcinko was given a promotion. He was now the commander of his former unit, SEAL Team 2. He commanded the unit for 2 years, but his true claim to fame would come in April 1980, when the United States attempted to rescue 53 Americans taken hostage in Iran. Perhaps y'all have heard of the Iran hostage crisis? Yeah, Operation Eagle Claw was an unsuccessful operation led during Marcinko's tenure. Unsuccessful to say the fucking least. 8 service members died, the hostages remained in captivity for a whole further year, and the operation was an enormous embarrassment for then-President Jimmy Carter, likely costing him a re-election and dooming us to a Reagan administration through the course of the 80s. In Marcinko's words, the operation was, quote, "one humongous goat fuck. One big waste." Following the failure of Eagle Claw, the United States determined it was time to establish a new special operations unit to handle intense terrorist situations, and Marcinko was the man selected to lead it. For some reason, I guess his track record was so sterling in the wake of that completely fucking botched operation. Read up on the...
You fucked up so hard, we gotta see how you do it again.
Yeah! Take two. And speaking of, here's Image Shoe, another candid shot of Richard Marcinko promoting some fucking pool and day club. He got into some business venture. I think he had a brand of tequila at some point. Flim Flam Man. Anyway, likely Dick's greatest military accomplishment is as the first commanding officer of the U.S. Navy's Naval Special Warfare Development Group, also abbreviated as DevGRU, but better known as SEAL Team 6. The task force, which would later receive recognition for the assassination of Osama bin Laden as part of Operation Neptune Spear. Perhaps you've heard of this Osama bin Laden fellow before and his storied assassination. Now, funny story, when SEAL Team 6 was initially founded, there were only actually 2 other SEAL teams in effect at that point. Marcinko chose to skip ahead to the number 6 in an attempt to confuse Soviet intelligence. To this very day,
the same strategy that seniors in high school use for their pranks when they release pigs labeled 1, 2, and 4, and the faculty spends the entire time looking for 3.
Yeah, Dick was heavily inspired by college pranks, by high school pranks of that nature. To this very day, SEAL Team 6 is supposedly allotted virtually unlimited resources with which to complete their missions, and although they are largely shrouded in secrecy, they are at least known to be responsible for resolving a number of high-risk hostage extraction situations, not unlike the Iran hostage crisis, which went so fucking well. After relinquishing command of SEAL Team 6 in 1983, having led it for 3 years, Marcinko would go on to lead the infamous Red Cell, beginning in 1984, an organization purposed with testing the effectiveness of America's own military and government installations. Of course, these were not routine inspections of facility security measures. They were full-on simulated terrorist attacks on American property, complete with hostage-taking and hardcore interrogations. Operations would typically begin with Red Cell operatives breaking and entering into a guarded property, a guarded government facility, disabling all the aspects of security, and ultimately result in Red Cell being in a prime position to complete some nefarious objective that America's enemies might very well attempt to accomplish in a real-life scenario. And perhaps one of the most damning examples of Red Cell's handiwork, they were able to plant simulated bombs on Air Force One without being detected. Best of all, they recorded video footage of all their operations so that they could rub the noses of incompetent high-ranking officials and security details in their own failures. There's actually a documentary that contains a lot of this recorded footage. Red Cell, The True Story, a 1994 documentary. Be warned, there's some harrowing shit in that documentary. Because one of the problems with Red Cell was that they played a little too rough with hapless government employees, going so far as to submit hostages to intense psychological and physical torture in the process of, quote, testing their effectiveness. Finally, after years of having his own team's effectiveness neutered by such pesky things as regulations and safety protocols, Marcinko was removed from command on the back of embezzlement charges. Now, personally, I think this is actually the best thing Dick ever did was stealing from the military. Probably the coolest thing he ever did was misallocating military funds for his own personal gain. I think that's actually pretty based, as the kids say. Naturally, Richard denied these charges for years, claiming some conspiracy hatched by some of the same high-ranking officials he had embarrassed over the course of Red Cell's operations. Regardless of the truth of the matter, he was totally guilty. His 30-year Navy career ended, and he went on to make a new living recounting his life stories and involvement in military operations, namely in book form. So here we have the cover to his first book, Rogue Warrior. Oh, funny that name. The original Rogue Warrior book is actually an autobiography by Marcinko, by which I mean it was written by one John Weissman, framed as a career spent struggling to win acceptance for the special warfare SEAL units within the Navy establishment. It covers the early history of the SEAL units, his participation in the Vietnam War, the Iran hostage rescue attempt in 1980, and the U.S. invasion of Grenada, and the founding and early history of the counter-terrorist units, SEAL Team 6 and Red Cell, so on and so forth. He also delights in the course of the book and recalling some of the gross behavior of the SEALs, such as eating the brains of a live monkey to impress some of his Cambodian allies. Classic Marcinko embellishment there. According
You think
to...
they did that completely apropos of nothing? Like, they were just standing there saying, like, oh, we got to impress these guys. What do we got around here? Monkey. Okay, monkey. What can we do for this?
No, he had just seen Indiana Jones and the
brains.
Temple of Doom, and he was heavily inspired by the scene in that movie, by the racist scene in that movie. Speaking to Marcinko's embellishments and tendency to lie, Rolling Stone investigative reporter Matthew Cole would publish their own book, Code Over Country, The Tragedy and Corruption of SEAL Team 6, which basically debunks a lot of Marcinko's own myth-making, gets into some of the real history, interviews some of the people who served in SEAL Team 6, and ultimately paints a very unflattering picture of Marcinko and his time leading SEAL Team 6. One of the major sticking points is how he was a immense alcoholic and forced everyone on his team to also be an immense alcoholic. Let me take a sip of my drink real quick. To quote the book, as Marcinko recruited for his unit, another characteristic emerged. Marcinko liked to drink, and any SEAL who wanted to serve in his new secret and elite team would have to be able to drink as well. Marcinko told Cole that he, quote, used alcohol as a tool. If a prospective SEAL couldn't keep up with Marcinko's pace at a bar, then he didn't have any place in SEAL Team 6. Marcinko...
You ever play Word Time Fun, the PSP game?
Yes.
You know that mini game where you're a drunk mayor and you just stumble forward first person view to try and like cut a ribbon at an opening ceremony? I'm imagining that's how like every SEAL Team 6 operation went. Just them like stumbling forward and like waving their gun around while they're like, okay, I can do it. I can
Put your hands
do
up,
it for
Osama, you son of a bitch.
Doing it for Dick.
Marcinko is quoted, or is speculated to have essentially commanded SEAL Team 6 like a mafia. And by reportedly, I mean, he said it himself. He called himself a mafioso. To quote him again, we were social misfits, and I set it up like a mafioso, a band, a brotherhood. If you want to call them sociopaths, you can. That's how you get enlisted in the charge. They are the talent. My priorities for the unit were mission, unit, flag, family. SEAL Team 6 is not really a military unit as much as it is a mafia. So, you know.
That order?
That was an order. That's official. That's from the top. That's from Marcinko himself.
First thing is the mission. The second thing is the unit. The third thing is the country that we serve, and then family.
Coming in at a cool third, right? It's really good priorities.
You made top 5. That's pretty good for you, America.
Our nation's best special operations unit, folks. Moving along. Oh, actually, no, hold on. I want to stay on this image a little longer because... Actually, you know what? I fucked up the order of my images. That's what I did here. Pretend you didn't see that 4th image. Instead, look at this 5th image. It's cover to the Rogue Warrior book titled Designation Gold.
I'm noticing none of these books have a sticker on the front that says, now a best-selling video game.
These came a little earlier. These came throughout the course of the 90s into the early 2000s. So realizing that the more sensational elements of his life story were what his readers primarily went for, the 16 Rogue Warrior books to follow would indulge in purely fictional scenarios, presenting Marcinko as America's most accomplished Black Ops protagonist, single-handedly dismantling foreign conspiracies in his bloody pursuit of justice. In an era of book publishing dominated by names like Tom Clancy and Robert Ludlum, Marcinko and his ghostwriters slotted in quite nicely. And just to give an example...
I was going to say, speaking of Tom Clancy, though, how much do you think Rainbow Six is just like Tom Clancy looked at Dick Marcinko and was like, I could do that?
Well, it's a cyclical thing. It's a full circle. It's an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail, as we'll get into when we get into some of the details of the game's initial vision. But I want to read the plot synopsis for this particular book here, Designation Gold, because it is incredible. So, The Rogue Warrior is in Moscow with murder and mayhem on his mind. The reason? His old friend, Paul Mahone, Washington's defense attaché in Russia, has been assassinated. Marcinko knows who killed him. Andrei Yudin, a godfather in the Russian mafia, and he just wants to know why. But Yudin's not talking. In fact, he's been silenced forever. The rogue warrior can't raise the dead, but he can uncover a cabal of Russian politicians in bed with the mob. The revelation buys him a one-way ticket to Washington, courtesy of the Russian Ministry of the Interior and his own State Department. Back in the Pentagon, Marcinko finds that the chain of command has turned into a noose around his neck. He's asking questions some powerful people don't want answered, and he's drawing heavy fire. Orders come down from the top to disband his elite group of Navy SEALs and to put the rogue warrior out to pasture. But this is one stud who's not ready to go down to the farm. He is ready, however, to prowl and growl, to cut and slash his way to the real story behind Mahon's death. A search that takes him to Paris and into the heart of a black market network peddling terrorism and mass murder. Marcinko connects Paul's murder to break-ins at the dozen NATO installations throughout Europe, to the infiltration of the American embassy in Paris, and to a series of sinister and mysterious shipments to the Middle East. Masterminded by an international financier in the employ of the CIA, a devil of a deal is in the works, and it's America's safety that's for sale. It's time to play Truth or Consequences. The rogue warrior will uncover the truth, and his enemies will have hell to pay.
Now, did he ever explicitly say, like, this one's a work of fiction, y'all?
I think he had to. I think legally he would have had to. But you can still see him, from that description, blending in elements of how he was persecuted by the government for embezzling money. Framing it as some grand conspiracy, and all of Washington's corrupt, man. So that's what basically the tone of all those books takes. It's really like self-indulgent power fantasy bullshit where Richard Marcinko is the only man you can trust in all the military, a true spec op. Mr. Taco says you should get hired to narrate the audiobooks for every one of these novels. Pay me. Lots of money. There's a lot of books. There's 16 of them. I will say that there was one oddball entry in this bibliography that I feel a need to highlight here. You may have noticed the cover of this one when we accidentally skimmed past it. This is Leadership Secrets of the Rogue Warrior. This is his business strategy book he put out. Oh, God. Let's read the synopsis to this one, why don't we? Richard Marcinko's explosive #1 New York Times bestselling autobiography, Rogue Warrior, and 4 blockbuster Rogue Warrior novels have earned him fame for his raucous, no-holds-barred style. Now, blasting other business guides out of the water, Marcinko draws on his remarkable experience as a Navy commando and creator of the legendary SEAL Team 6 to apply his 10 commandments of special warfare to the challenges of business and everyday life. A brief sampling of some quotes from the book. I will always lead you from the front, not the rear. I shall punish thy bodies, because the more thou sweetest in training, the less thou bleedest in combat. And my personal favorite, verily, thou art not paid for thy methods, but for thy results, by which meaneth thou shalt kill shine enemy by any means available before he killeth you. Using his own war stories, plus case studies of Fortune 500 companies and smaller businesses, Marcinko now clarifies the simple but profound leadership priorities and principles that have made him an extraordinary success, both in and out of the military. Oh, what a fucking clown. What a scam artist. Incredible. Fucking, like, all, like, motivational books and, business strategy books are bullshit anyway. But just to see this motherfucker. Oh, I was so tickled pink reading this. I was so happy to find this. It's
I'm
so
hoping that
funny.
I'm hoping that one of the books he wrote is like his take on Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Sorry, it's still funny to me. We have to move along, though. We have to move along. I'm so sorry. To the video game, to the reason we're all here, ostensibly. Even though I could go on for hours reading his fucking stupid business ideas. Okay, all right. So, 2006. This is the year in which Bethesda Softworks saw themselves ready to announce an upcoming video game based on Marcinko's Rogue Warrior license. To this end, they enlisted the services of developer Zombie Studios, then best known for their Spec Ops series of military tactical shooters, as well as their involvement with the development of the military-sponsored America's Army, as well as a handful of training modules for the U.S. Army that were more discreet, that weren't published games, but were training simulators that were used internally within the Army. This game, tentatively titled Rogue Warrior Black Razor, was slated for a 2007 release. Development was soon underway. The original design concept for Rogue Warrior was actually an ambitious thing, set in a present-day North Korea, present day for 2006 and 2007, obviously. The game would have seen players control a squad led by Richard Demo Dick Marcinko as you relieve the country of their nuclear launch capabilities. This campaign would have provided optional 4-player cooperative play, presumably allowing each player to take the role of one of the squad's individual members. This would have placed the game in something like direct competition with Ubisoft's Tom Clancy branded Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six franchises, which ruled the tactical shooter roost at the time. I told you Tom Clancy would come back into this. IGN were given the opportunity to sample a stage demo of the game at an event sponsored by Bethesda, in which reporter Eric Brudvig described the game as looking fairly impressive and freeform in its approach to level and combat design. Here we have some screenshots of that version that was in development, and if you have an astute eye, you may notice that some of the settings and scenarios here, in particular that submarine in the bottom right corner, some of these concepts do survive into the final product. I think the game was also at times described as a third-person shooter and a first-person shooter, which, funnily enough, that also applies to the final product, which is primarily played in first-person, but when you're in cover, or you switch to like aim down the sights from cover, it does take a very similar perspective to what's seen in the 2 screenshots on the right here. Again, you'll see when we get into the game itself, folks, if you're somehow not familiar with Rogue Warrior already by this point. That was describing the single-player campaign and co-op campaign, I guess. But there was also a multiplayer mode to be attached to this, which also was going to be somewhat ambitious and unique. The big selling point was that maps were to be generated by a combination of terrains and structures picked by both teams, as well as randomly by the game. So in concept, a map that you'd be battling it out on, the 2 teams, would consist of the 2 team zones on either end of the map, with the layouts having been selected and voted on by each team prior to the match. Then the game would decide randomly on a center zone that both teams would have to traverse on their way to infiltrate their opponent's base and complete whatever objectives might be involved in the course of a match. This reportedly...
I don't know if you know the answers. So does that mean that each team was voting on their own base layout, or were both teams voting on what the map as a whole looks like?
The implication would seem to be that each team votes on what their own forward operating base is, where they spawn, and then the center of the map was to be randomly determined. And so you'd have like basically 3 distinct sectors of the map, which are like...
In my head, that kind of sounded like drafting in some online games where like you pick like a character and then the other team picks a character or stuff like that, or picks a character to ban and your side picks a character to ban or something like that. Yeah. So like in my version of this, in my head, from how you're describing it, it'd be like a multiplayer map that both teams go back and forth saying like, well, okay, we don't want sandbags on this map, but we do want automated, mounted turrets. And the other team's like, okay, you can get your mounted turrets, but you don't get trenches or something like that,
Yeah, sure. I think it was definitely like the idea of having some degree of this is our advantage and we know what disadvantages we're going to set ourselves up with, and we're going to choose to impart this onto you as well. So, some degree of like having to counter pick based on what your enemy is operating within, and then based on, the randomly determined center of the map.
Luis is saying that Siege does that.
Does it? I'm not super familiar with Siege.
I'm not very familiar with it either, so I couldn't attest to that.
I think they mean the drafting in particular, because I don't think it has randomly generated maps or the committee determined maps. So as I was mentioning, the game would randomly decide on the center zone. This reportedly would have allowed for, quote, up to 200 different maps. So you can maybe math out like what the combination of stuff would be vaguely, on which a capacity of 24 players could compete against one another in various different game modes and configurations. Ambitious concepts, to be sure. Perhaps a tad bit too ambitious, as a matter of fact.
I honestly see that like breaking down within the first month. Like people figure out the meta immediately.
Yeah.
Go like, no, this is the map. This is the map that everyone plays forever.
Well, you'd still be sort of the center of the map being randomly determined might have some impact on that. But again, this game never came out, so to speculate on it is a fool's errand at some point. Let's move along. So Rogue Warrior's development fell under something of radio silence for the next couple of years to follow. 2007 came and went, and 2008, as far as news on the game, only saw a brief mention from Richard Marcinko himself, confirming that the game was still in development as part of an interview with the Virginian pilot, which I will be linking here. And also for folk on YouTube, we always have links to every source we do in the description of the video. And to quote Marcinko as part of this interview, there would be a, quote, lot of blood and guts in there in the game. So that's always good to know. Despite having what seemed to be a pretty well-defined game plan, Zombies going so far as to have working names and descriptions written for each of the 10 planned multiplayer modes within the game, actual progress being made on the game was apparently not up to Bethesda standards. So, as development rolled over into the year 2009, Bethesda announced that Zombie Studios would no longer be involved in development of the game, and suggested that the progress made on Black Razor would be scrapped in favor of a new direction by a new developer. We'll get to that in a moment. I just want to quickly cap off the story of Zombie Studios here. They landed on their feet for the most part. They developed the moderately successful 2009 Saw tie-in game, the fucking exceptional Blacklight series, which I will always love for Blacklight Retribution. Tango Down's okay.
That was a cool game. I played it.
Oh, it wasn't just cool. It was the fucking best. Blacklight Retribution, man. Bring it back. One of my favorite multiplayer shooters of all time. I was one of the best in the world at it for a period of time.
I could still theoretically download it on my PlayStation. Can't play it, but I could download it.
So they had that to their name, and then there was 2011's Blackwater for the 360, specifically with Kinect in mind, which firmly planted Zombie's feet back in the field of military ghoulism and propaganda. Zombie would disband in 2015. Some of their staff would come together to reform as a support studio under the name of Hardsuit Labs. And have seemed to largely languish in the years since. I actually have some inside sources on this, and it's rough goings over there. Hearts out to all the people working for Hardsuit Labs right now, and I hope things get better for you soon, but it seems unlikely. Speaking of unlikely, the developer picked to head the new version of Rogue Warrior would be none other than Rebellion Developments, my mortal enemy.
I like some of their games.
I don't. So
you play that new Sniper Elite? It's pretty good.
So let me get into this real quick. At a certain point, Rebellion were probably best known for their involvement with the Alien vs. Predator first-person games franchise, beginning with the original 1994 release on the Atari Jaguar. Perhaps most relevantly to the story of Rogue Warrior, they had a hand in converting a couple of the Rainbow Six titles for the Sony PlayStation, a handful of Delta Force games under their belt, and even being able to boast that they had developed games under the Medal of Honor and Call of Duty licenses. For the Game Boy Advance and PlayStation 2, respectively. Shoutouts to Medal of Honor Underground on the Game Boy Advance. Let's link to our article on that, badgamehalloffame.com/medal-of-honor-underground-GBA. Truly one of the most wretched 3D GBA games, to say the fucking least. Perhaps best known these days, Rebellion. They are best known as the Sniper Elite developers, as you mentioned, Sharky, and for the recent release of one Atomfall, which I hear is okay. I'll never know, because I refuse to buy any Rebellion games ever again. So, here's the thing. Most of Rebellion's releases up to this point in time in 2008 or 2009 seem to settle at around mixed or average review scores, with exception given to their pair of hideously overrated Alien vs. Predator games.
I like that Alien vs. Predator game. The newer one of the three.
The 2010 one?
Yeah, I like that one.
I don't know if we can be friends
Not-
anymore.
Not as good as 2, but you know.
Well, nothing's as good as 2. That's the one that he didn't fucking develop. That's the one that fucking Monolith took care of. So it's the only good one of those games. I can get way too deep into this stuff. Let's try to keep on track here somewhat. Sure. I'll have plenty of time to shit talk Rebellion during the actual game. So, while Rebellion perhaps couldn't and can't boast consistent critical acclaim to this very day, they do have several other bragging rights to their name. By process of purchasing and acquiring the properties and talents of other developers, specifically ones in the EU, they have become the largest independent game development studio in all of Europe. They have the resources to churn out contracted games on short order and likely do so on smaller budgets than other notable game developing peers. Leaving themselves with nothing to show after nearly 3 years of holding the Rogue Warrior license, Bethesda likely looked to hand the game off to the cheapest and most efficient bidder. Rebellion Developments just so happened to be the ones to take up the call, and they had just the subsidiary studio in mind to task to it. Core Design Limited, a British video game developer based in Derby, England. Founded in May 1988 by former Gremlin Graphics employees, acquired by umbrella company Centergold in December 1994, in turn acquired by Eidos Interactive in April 1996, and ultimately responsible for helming the Tomb Raider franchise from its debut in 1996, all the way through to a little game by the name of Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness in 2003. The release of that last particular Tomb Raider title saw publisher Crystal Dynamics, publisher Eidos, I should say, strip them of the franchise they had born, their team gutted between layoffs and people leaving, and ultimately sold off in May 2006 to Rebellion Developments, who promptly rechristened Core as Rebellion Derby and immediately set to work as something of a B team within the larger developer. Just a quick mention, watch our playthrough of Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness, or alternatively, our playthrough of the DVD conversion of Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness as Tomb Raider: The Action Adventure.
Yes, do you have 3 hours to spare or 18 hours to spare?
It's your call.
Change, yeah.
Depending on how much time you have to spare. So I mentioned that Rebellion Derby were basically a B team. Given the caliber of game they were made to work on, it was probably for the best that they weren't given top billing in any of the games they contributed to during their time as Rebellion Derby. I want to link to an article here by Eurogamer. It's a 20 years on the Tomb Raider story told by the people who were there, so it's an oral history of Core Design and transitioning into the Rebellion Derby era and basically the rise and fall of this once great studio. And it's an excellent article that I highly recommend and that we'll be cribbing from in some of the segments to follow here. In 2009, Rebellion Developments would be responsible for the development of Shell Shock 2 Blood Trails, a first-person sequel to a 2004 third-person shooter set in Vietnam, that being Shell Shock Nam 67, developed by Guerrilla Games. So Core, or Rebellion Derby at this point, were the team primarily put in charge of this game. This game, which I just have to say, this game is truly one of the worst of all time. In spots, it is worse than Rogue Warrior. It's very similar to Rogue Warrior for reasons we'll get into briefly. My dream, one of my goals, is to make people interested in this game. I feel like I'm the only motherfucker who cares about Shell Shock 2 Blood Trails as an all-timer bad game. Truly wretched shit. Absolutely deplorable fucking narrative and characters within. One of the most downer fucking video games, and it sucks to play. You will see this game on the Bad Game Hall of Fame eventually, and I will make you care about it, folks. But for right now, all you need to know is that whereas most of Rebellion's games by this point, as we mentioned, seem to have been rated as middling at worst, barring Medal of Honor Underground, which is actually their worst performing critically game on the GBA. Shell Shock 2's reception can only be described as aggressively bad, averaging something like a 30% aggregate score while taking reviews of its releases across the 3 different consoles, PC, PS3, and 360, into consideration. I have written in my notes here, a truly terrible game, and surely something worthy of future induction into this particular Hall of Fame. And I have here some quotes from that Eurogamer article mentioned earlier. We had to put Shell Shock 2 on the Xbox 360. We just got the new technology and we were trying to understand it, and we were trying to push out a AAA game with a studio of 50 people, says former core developer Andy Sandom. We knew as experienced developers that we couldn't do that, so there was a feeling of malaise. One Neil Boyd, also of core design, remembers his time working on Shell Shock 2 with a grimace. It was meeting after meeting after meeting. It was going nowhere. They settled on the theme, and I thought, oh my god, I'm going to be working on this for 3 or 4 years, and it's got 4 out of 10 written all over it. Pretty generous of him, actually, when you consider the final product. I don't want to be associated with a game like that, I thought. If I could change it, I would stay, but I didn't have any say, I was told. No, we've employed a writer, and we're going along this route. Again, truly despicable product released into the market. Shortly after Shell Shock 2's near catastrophic release, the team was set to task on Rogue Warrior, leveraging the same Asura engine, proprietary to Rebellion, and many of the same gameplay hooks. It's clear that the turnaround time was envisioned as being ridiculously quick, seeing as both Shell Shock 2 and Rogue Warrior were made to release within the same year as one another. If I didn't know any better, I'd almost be inclined to believe that Rebellion acquired core design with the intention to task them with projects that nobody else in the studio wanted to touch with a 10-foot pole, basically condemning them to doomed projects under unfathomably small timelines, and effectively setting them up to fail. And it's here... All right, everyone, listen in. I'm going to whisper this. I have some inside information on this one. At some point after writing our article on Rogue Warrior, I was reached out to by someone who worked at Rebellion Derby, who worked at Rebellion during the time that Rogue Warrior was in development, who basically fessed up to me, who basically said, like, great article, game was a total goat fuck. Here's the thing, you make fun of the script for that game. They happen to know that the process for writing the script to Rogue Warrior, the person who wrote that script basically had prepared a first draft, a very loose outline for what the game was meant to be, with like some placeholder dialogue that was made to be like, you know, intentionally campy, just to sort of get across like, yeah, you know, and Dick will say something like really obscene here, and we'll sort of like go to this place, you know, you insert some details here between what happens here and there, basically presented as a very rough outline for what the game was meant to be. Rebellion just took that and ran with it and used it as the actual finalized script for the game. If this account is to be believed, they took basically what was just a very rough working draft that was nowhere near ready for prime time. And because they were so fucking crunched for time, because they cared so little about this project, because the turnaround and the budget were so fucking out of whack, that they just went with whatever they had on hand just to commit something to fucking disc. I vetted that source as much as I could. You know, this is rumor mill. You know, I can only present it as such, but I'm inclined to believe this account of things. I'm inclined to believe the source that reached out to me without breaching any confidentiality here. And I was very giddy to hear that when it was first sent to me, because it confirmed something I had believed in my own heart, that I had assumed as much about Rogue Warrior, but to have it vaguely confirmed for me was a joy. And
even if it can't be absolutely 100% confirmed, it's still the funniest thing, which I'm willing to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to have some law. Sharky's law. If it's the funniest possible outcome, it's probably the realest outcome. it's probably the realest potentiality. So Bethesda, for their part, knowing that they had basically sold off the rights to this doomed project to the lowest bidder, and basically acknowledging that they were sending this game out to die, had exactly one idea in mind for the game, one promotional hook for it that they hoped would distract people from the fact that this game was being turned around so quickly and so cheaply. The role of Richard Marcinko would be portrayed by actor Mickey Rourke, fresh off his Academy Award-nominated performance as Randy the Ram Robinson in 2008's The Wrestler, the film by Darren Aronofsky. Great film. In a press release put out by Bethesda in collaboration with Blind Light LLC, an organization established to facilitate the involvement of Hollywood actors in video games, the game's executive producer Todd Vaughn is quoted as saying, "Mickey Rourke absolutely 100% captures Marcinko's raw and gritty personality." And I quote, that is a quote from a press statement that I'm linking to here from released through IGN. We'll examine exactly what this raw and gritty personality can be taken to mean when we play the final products. So, By late 2009, by December 2009, Bethesda were finally able to publish a finished Rogue Warrior video game, finished in quotation marks there. Averaging the Metacritic aggregate scores across all 3 platforms, Rogue Warrior lands itself somewhere around a 28 out of 100. With so many aspects for critics to potentially lambast, most complaints seem to land on either the outdated graphics or the underwhelming enemy AI as their primary points of contention. And of course, nearly every critic takes the time to address the ridiculous level of profanity present in the game, with some pointing to it as one of the game's only redeeming features. My personal favorite take comes courtesy of a GameSpy review penned by one Rory Mannion, which concludes with this following gem. In condemning this game, I can't help but feel like an opportunistic hunter pouncing on the most pathetic zebra in the herd. But Rogue Warrior is a hobbled, wheezing creature, stumbling around so far away from its peers that not going for the jugular could be seen as an act of cruelty. Now, for a conflicting take, and this is where I get to get real petty, the only sign of a seemingly positive press review that I could find was on the back of the box itself. A quote from one Blast Magazine, who praises the title as the year's best multi-platform game and as being full of pure action. I had to track this attribution down to the source in Blast Magazine. I found the sole article written on the subject of Rogue Warrior on Blast Magazine's website, which was an admitted hands-off preview of the game as seen, but not actually played, at E3 by writer John M. Guilfoyle. He goes on to gush about how the graphics and sounds are beautiful and makes the bold prediction that Rogue Warrior will be a winner when it comes out in the fall for Xbox 360, PC, and PlayStation 3. Link to that Blast Magazine article here. And again, this is not for the Zombie Studios version of the game. This is, in fact, for the Bethesda published, the fucking Rebellion Developments developed version of the game. So you can't even give him credit for, like, trying to call his shot when the game was still in competent hands. When I cited this review on the Bad Game Hall of Fame website in the article, I had a little line here, a little sneak diss I put in here, which reads, "I have a bold prediction of my own. The future of Blast Magazine is bright and promising, and after 10 years of their website wallowing in relative obscurity, 2018 will finally be the year they turn their ship around." Just to give an update on that, to give an update on that diss of mine, 7 years later, they still have 0 social media presence. They still occasionally post articles like once every couple of months that no one fucking reads or comments on. Just an absolute like dearth of content on this website, which is still chugging along for the benefit of absolutely fucking no one. Just an absolutely useless publication that probably should have been put out of its misery at around the same time that Rogue Warrior came out, if we're being honest and really petty here. But yeah.
Although the fact that they're still open does put them above a lot of other game journalists.
Like GameSpy, I suppose, which we mentioned earlier. Anyway, that's the cast being petty hour. Prepare for more of it as we get into the game, too. I guess it's the cast being petty 3-hour stream. But let's get to our last slide for now before we get into the game proper. Here is some art that was drawn for that article that I commissioned from one Tofu Plus Beast. Just going to link to them here on Blue Sky. And again, I love this piece of art. I just want to take this opportunity to share what my first exposure to Rogue Warrior was, because it wasn't through any marketing, that's for goddamn sure. It was via G.N.B.N, who had a quick look video of the game in question, in which Jeff Gerstmann and Ryan Davis swore their way through a half hour of absolutely miserable gameplay and technical issues. It remains probably the most amusing content to come from the game, as well as providing an important note of historical insight. As early as the game's release week, the online multiplayer mode was already completely vacant. Apparently, nobody else knew the game had come out either until G.N.B.N's quick look, and even that only served as a giant stay away sign for consumers. G.N.B.N in the news today for reasons that'll immediately date this video, but shouts to Dan Reichert sticking it to fandom. And then one more note here, one more bit of trivia I would like to present to the audience at large here. So, our article on Rogue Warrior on the Bad Game Hall of Fame was published December 25th, 2017, as a little bit of a Christmas gift to our audience. Richard Marcinko died at some point, specifically on December 25th, Christmas Day in 2021, aged 81. So he died on the anniversary of us posting that article. Coincidence? I think not. That's right, folks. We took him down. We finally got revenge on behalf of the U.S. military against Richard Marcinko. Oh, what a bastard. Richard Marcinko's lasting legacy is as a consummate bullshitter and flim-flam man, by measure of those with military and special ops backgrounds. Among the general populace, though, this game that we're about to play may well be Demo Dick Marcinko's most notorious legacy. End history section. I love that one. I loved every detail of that one. I'm not too proud to admit. So that's the story of Rogue Warrior and of Dick Marcinko, and now all it's left to do
is to play the true story of Dick Marcinko and Rogue Warrior.
Right. For that, we switch to the 16:9 screen, since this is a widescreen product that we're about to play. As mentioned, I had to do some arcane shit to get this game up and running. Combination of DG Voodoo and some fucking Wine 3D wrappers and a bunch of i9 configuration file fixes. It is
tough. This game does not want to run.
It certainly doesn't. And also, I can't alt-tab out of it. So once I launch this game, I'm basically committed to it for the duration of the playthrough. So, I mean, I'll alt-tab. If there's any issues with the audio or what have you, we will figure that out and make sure that everything is above board. Folk at home should be seeing the game. Are you seeing this, Charking?
I'm seeing it.
Wonderful. Rogue Warrior saves game content automatically at certain points. Oh man, every time I come back to this, it's a treat.
What is this style of animation called? Where you just have like a still image and like a lot of parts of it are just sort of like weirdly, fluidly kind of like warbling around.
That's called art, baby. That's what it's called to me. Check these options. Controls. Yeah, controls. Let's look at the range of options here. Shooting, crouching, taking cover, night vision. No frills, to say the least. Mouse sensitivity in this game is absolutely wretched as well, so you have to turn that shit down all the way. The vertical and horizontal sensitivities are completely misaligned with one another. Big range of video options here. My concession is that I cannot fucking play with the motion blur on in this. It is fucking sickening to see the motion blur in action in this game, so I'm just gonna spare myself.
I never like motion blur.
I never do either, also, but it is particularly egregious here.
Sid in chat is likening the tweening, which is the animation, of Dick here to how like VTubers and Live 2D animate, so that this could be a Dick Marcinko VTuber if he just animated the mouth. Actually, you wouldn't even have to animate the mouth because he's like shrouded in darkness there.
Don't mind if I do. I have a redesign in mind for our little guys on screen. I want to quickly show the mission select here so we can count the number of missions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Grand total of 8 missions in this game. Not a long game. We will finish this within 3 hours with any luck at all, by which I mean we'll finish the game within 2 hours. We've already burned an hour talking about the history of this game, but I think we'll still come in under time on this one. And as you may notice, all the mission names are military acronyms, like S.N.A.F.U.
Situation normal, all fucked up.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, so stupid.
Let's take turns. You go.
This one I don't know.
Good news, bad news. Pretty fucking dangerous location. Fucked up beyond
all recognition.
You got that one. Do you know H.U.M.I.N.T? Human intelligence.
Maybe. Okay.
Kick ass and take names and doom on you. Oh, so vulgar, so edgy.
I knew like I knew like 4 out of 8.
Let's select a difficulty, why don't we? Recruits, the easiest. If you're a pussy, select this one.
Ooh, me.
Raising my hand. It's waving it. Regulars, bring it on, motherfuckers. And elites, think you're fucking special, huh? I don't think I'm that special. I'll keep it on regular, thank you very much.
Regular seems like the only one that's not insulting you, so. I don't remember if we get Dick talking over these or not.
Not these, but there is or maybe in later missions they do, but this one we have silence, radio silence, and we're going to need to maintain radio silence as we go into the intro cinematic of this game, which afterwards I have a theory about this intro.
I think you have the same theory that I do about this intro.
A spec warrior. One who gives a fuck.
No subtitles, sorry.
Whether I'm prowling and growling or going full fucking Faulkner with lots of sound and fury, you count on this. I get the job done. Today, that means flying under the radar, deep into North Korea. The brass running this op is a dip-dunk desk jockey named Admiral Travis Payton. He tells me the mission is beyond classified, so I'm running a skeleton crew. Minimum footprint, maximum impact. SOP for assholes like me. I trained these men up through the SEAL program. They've saved my ugly ass more than once. They're dirtbags and hard motherfuckers. And when I'm staring death in the face, it's them I want watching my 6.
So I am going to talk over this. You can find the full cinematics here if you want to, but my theory is that this intro is meant to spoof the fact that this game originally was meant to be a cooperative squad shooter.
Typical.
That these guys are stand-ins for the characters that were meant to be represented in the original vision for the game.
There's a thin line between a simple...
And you'll see what happens to them. Because if there's one thing about the Asura engine, it's that it is fucking dog shit at squad AI. So Rebellion just did everything they could to avoid having squad mates in their games for the longest time. Play the 2010 Alien vs. Predator for proof of that.
Protecting the trees, boss. Ugh. Oh no, the trees. Tell the trees I love them. You know, if you put it on an easier difficulty, they speak English.
Check the
Shut up.
asshole still twitching.
What does that mean?
See, now we don't gotta worry about squad AI. Now you can just play this
entire
game single player.
Commander, this is
highly trained.
What's your status?
It's a total goat fuck. Goddamn KPA were waiting for us. My men are dead.
Jesus Christ. Abort.
Fuck no.
Yeah! We're a rogue warrior, baby!
I had to let those lines play out.
Oh, of course. Press F to perform a kill move when close to an enemy. Like this close? Is this close enough?
Looks like it.
There's another interview that I didn't source during the intro where Dick is interviewed. Dick is interviewed about the game, and he says that he wholeheartedly endorses the kill moves in this game as things that he absolutely totally did in his real-life military operations.
Do you remember the number of kill moves they purport to have in this game?
No, not offhand, but I know they do number it.
That damn shithole problem with KPA.
I have a number off the top of my head, but I want to double check it.
So you can play most of this game by just running directly up to people and pressing the F button, which is a really cool and fun way to play this, which, you know, diminishes the need for interactivity or gunplay or really any much like a thought towards gameplay. But you could also play it
You on this, fuckhead?
like this for an extra layer of stealth.
Regular Sam Fisher.
Now,
Okay, so reportedly, there are 25 distinct kill moves. I swear in the past I've heard someone claim there's like 52 of them,
no.
but the lowball number that I found is over 25, which means 26.
And you
That
see
is my golden rule.
You see
for,
5 of them repeated time and time
Yes.
again in the course of this.
My golden rule for anytime anything says over this number of things in the game, like in
It's
my
always
mind
one
that
more.
always means that plus 1.
I gotta hear this line. What? No, Dick, you're supposed to push him over the railing and say something. How did I fuck that up? How did it fuck up a scripted kill? Impressive. He's supposed to say, like, rock and roll, motherfuckers, rock and roll, and he pushes the...
Motherfuckers, rock and roll.
There we go, called it.
Oh, man, I missed you, Rogue Warrior. Okay, so they're presenting us with a Dragunov sniper rifle here. We also brought an MP5 with us. But I just want to say that there's no reason to use any other gun in this game. We will for the sake of variety. There's no need to use any other gun in this game other than the pistol, which has infinite ammo and perfect accuracy and does just as much damage when you shoot people in the head, which is easy enough to do in this game, so...
Drop dead, motherfucker, you fucking amateurs.
You say as you shoot him like in the torso like 5 times.
Well, you know, I'm far away. I am sniping with a pistol right now.
Pro Striker says, I can imagine those kids playing this and being like, I want to join the army. Do you think there was like an anti-recruitment game?
Yeah, it's this.
Do you think this is like Spec Ops: The Line, where it's supposed to make you hate the military?
Mission accomplished.
You asshole. That's Jesus.
His soul's still dancing. No, 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 no.
So yeah, infinite ammo on that pistol.
There's actually an achievement for clearing a mission only using the pistol, which is actually the easiest achievement to get, because you can just use the pistol for the entire game if you want to.
Bring the noise.
You have the option of like ditching the pistol though, don't you?
Yeah, you can, but I don't know why you would.
Yeah, which is a bad idea because it's your infinite ammo weapon. I do remember every time I play this, which has been like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times I've tried to play this game.
And I might as well have a bullseye on my ass.
I always end up just trying to run and melee everyone.
It's a valid strategy.
Yeah. Like, I rarely... At a certain point, I just rarely use the guns, period.
Certainly giving us choices, though. Most of the guns in this game suck. You know, actually, let me show something here. Here's your MP5. You know, you can hip fire it, or you can choose to iron sight it. Ugh! Oh, that's a weird iron sight. Let's try a different iron sight. Let's try a different weapon. Maybe different guns will have better.
Oh, that one's not good.
Maybe this shotgun?
Like, I don't think you want to see those textures much closer. all things
No.
considered.
The machine gun, the light machine gun has a reasonable iron sight compared to some of these other guns. How about a fucking AK? Surely this is.
Oh, no.
These iron
God.
sights are so fucking intrusive, are so fucking obstructive. These are so bad.
I would like to see a game with, like, a joke weapon, with, like, a joke iron sight, where you pull it up and the entirety of the screen is covered except for, like, one little pinhole in the center.
Sometimes if you get a kill move against one of these guys, you clip the camera through the wall. I'm hoping I can, maybe you? Nah, wrong animation for it. What a shame. By the way, Dick called these enemies goddamn cock breath commie motherfuckers. Mickey Rourke as Dick Marcinko is, as mentioned, very vulgar in this game. To a comical extent.
Would you call Mickey Rourke's performance a highlight of this game?
I mean, yeah, for lack of anything else spectacular about it,
Yeah.
besides how spectacularly bad it is.
That is a fair assessment of it, and that is kind of what I was thinking when I asked the question.
And I know people are going to immediately mention the fucking credits music. We'll get to that in time.
Yeah. We have to beat the game first.
Yeah. But, you know, I think the ending is a little much. I think the credits music is a little much. I think that's the developers tipping their hats a little too much, honestly. Point where it takes away from the comedy of just the...
Every one of those motherfuckers.
Why didn't this guy shoot me? Oh, I see, because he was standing in front of this. This clearly precluded his sight line, his ability to see me, the fact he was standing there.
Tiger Chimera asks, I'm curious how close those iron sights are to real iron sights compared to other games, since most games massively edit those things, since vision on screen is different than using real guns iron sights.
I mean, yeah, if you're really iron sighting with a weapon in real life, you know, you bring it up in front of your eye to an extent. You're resting like your chin, or, you know, on the stock, on the butt of the weapon. Well, soul's still dancing. But I mean, there's a reason why these things are video gamified. There's a reason why they're less obstructive, because, I mean, your real life vision, you have peripheral vision, right? So, you know, what you see around the gun, and I do feel they need to harp on this, because I think it is important to establish, like, how they fuck up the fundamentals of this game, is that, like, when you're in real life, you're not staring at a monitor. You don't have like 60 FOV like you do in this game. You have the full range of your vision. You can see, like, in your peripheral, you can see to the left and right of you around your gun. So when you, that's like, you know, the excuse for why, you know, same thing with, like, you know, like hipfire, with the way you hold guns in any given game. This, like, sort of like awkward angle that centers the gun sort of in the screen. Like, nothing in a video game, in a first-person shooter, is realistic about the way you carry a weapon. But, like, these are things that have been, like, solidified. These are game design concepts that have been cemented through years of rigorous testing to, like, make sure that they're as accessible and visible as possible for the player's behalf. And this game just ignores that shit, for the most part, to go its own way and to render it, like, really inconvenient to do any of the shooting in this game. Well, this looks like a dead end. Not much we can do here. Oh, convenient.
You know, all they had to do was not blow up that wall, and you would have never foiled their plans.
That's true. We would have been stymied. We would have been stopped. Dead in our tracks.
Knock, knock. Admiral, you read me.
5 by 5. Tell me you got there in time.
Matter of perspective. I recovered the intel. Commies are building the missiles right here in Ungi. The factory's by the docks.
Good. Maintain your objective. Find out what they've got, and if necessary, destroy it.
Don't zoom in so close on Dick's face. It's not well rendered.
Prosecco, respawn, damn it! What the hell is going on?
Payback.
See, they don't know how to respond to grenades either, just like our two dumb fuck teammates who got themselves killed. Honestly, it's their own fault.
All this is simple op, but Mr. Murphy already called their bluff. Now my men are dead, and I intend to finish what I started. The intel I liberated from our informant indicates the munitions factory is turning out missiles for the great leader. Time for a little snoop and poop.
Classic military jargon, a snoop and poop. And maybe that is military jargon. Who's to say? Who's to say Dick Marcinko
sounds like
didn't...
something you would. It sounds like something you would say to your dog if you want to take him for a walk. You ready for a little snoop and poop?
Who wants to go on a snoop and poop? Yes, you do.
Check out the neighborhood and go potty.
That's the factory. The great leader must have a tiny dick.
Ha! Got him. Take that,
Not
Kim
like me.
Jong.
My dick is big.
That's why they call him Demo Dick. Piss.
Give me some of that.
You don't get away,
Can't
buddy.
hear you.
Luckily, you don't make any noise doing anything in this game, except for shooting.
Magnificent Scoops says, Snoop and poop is a real military jargon term, unfortunately.
Very fortunately. It's the most endearing thing I've heard about the military all day.
It means a recon mission.
Yeah. Operation Piss Stealer is in effect. See, I'm maintaining stealth as much as possible because enemies can damage you if you let them shoot you. I prefer not to let them do that. Also, why am I crouching? Why am I crouching? That's helping my stealth at all. I can straight up sprint towards enemies and they won't fucking hear it, so it's just...
I thought he was A-posing for a second. I think he was just yawning.
Well, it's the last
Also,
yawn he'll ever fucking have.
Why is that engineer, like, doing work on the vents with an MP5 or something?
The right tool for the job.
Because he was working on the vents, and next to him was some sort of tool, but in his hands he was holding the gun.
Well, you know, they didn't want to have an animation for him drawing the gun. They just want people to immediately snap to shooting for convenience's sake. So, you know, if that means completely breaking an animation, you know, what can you do?
Speaking of broken models animation, look at that high kick.
Oh, you know what else we need
That
to
was
do?
intense.
We need to take cover at some point here.
Well,
I
getting
can
shot at
remember
would be a
how.
good time for it. It's
You
press
would-
space against the...
No, it's E.
Oh, it's E? Oh, I thought it was press space.
Huh? Am I gonna shoot? Oh, maybe this time. Maybe this time. I'm good. We don't really lose much accuracy.
We can't keep up to the American. He's just using a high-level military tactics as he, like, just poke in and out of cover constantly.
He's doing the "you can't see me" technique.
Oh!
Oh, well. They could see me that time. Let's see this animation again. Alright, let's do it a little more efficiently. Which, I mean, I'll actually engage in a firefight if I have to.
I think there's someone behind you.
Oh, that's what got me. Yeah. Doom on me. How foolish of me. Luckily, the time to respawn and the checkpoint here. Alright, I'll play a little better this time around. Even with deaths, this game's still going to come in way under time, so... Okay, so...
You know, oh, go on.
Cover. We have blind fire. It's fucking worthless, as most blind fire in most video games is. We have lean, which does render us exposed, but gives us perfect accuracy. So what you can do is line up your sights while you're, you know, while you're in cover, and just tap it and dump on them, and that's a pretty effective strategy. If you insist on taking cover, if you insist on playing the game by its own terms, instead of just running up to everyone and pressing F. Well, that guy's not going to be dead. Now he will.
You know how I said, like, I've tried playing this game, like, several times? It is, like, a 2-hour-long game. Which is to say, I've never been able to sit through 2 hours of this.
Well, tonight's going to be your first, then. Tonight is going to be necessary, as you're my co-commentator on this.
Hey, I don't have to play it, though.
Goddamn right.
Again, I blame that mostly on my only option being playing this over streaming.
Admiral, I got a visual on the missiles.
Copy that. What do you see?
I was hoping he would turn around and go, "Good job, Dick."
Can you take care of the ones still in the factory?
Pope shit in the woods.
I don't know, does he? Love the strong animation.
Isn't that a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas line?
I mean, it's a popular line, as a Pope shit in the woods is. An idiom that has been passed around long since before video games, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, that joke specifically, but...
You know what? Let's, for the sake of variety, try a gun.
I mean, it worked.
It does. And maybe I'll dump into a wall in a second to show the recoil. This is about mid-range. Oh, wait, hold on.
Ooh.
Sorry. Let's shoot this box. Let's see the recoil pattern on hipfire. That's pretty fucking tight, I would say.
Yeah.
How about this? Oh, there's just basically no recoil. There's basically no muzzle climb whatsoever. I basically hit all 30 of those shots in the same fucking thing. Cool. Great. Really great gunplay in this game.
Shit and gunpowder in here.
I mean, it is really great gunplay. You're great at it. You're hitting all your shots.
I'm the greatest fucking Spec Ops motherfucker that's ever lived. Oh, come on. Bullshit on that.
That seemed very ineffective as a grenade.
Yeah, well, they can't all be winners.
It's like the douchebag convention.
Hey, it's us.
Yeah. I think that's the line I use to announce the stream, if memory serves. Can I toss grenades while I'm... Yeah, I can. Cool.
Can you cook grenades at all? I assume not.
No. That was a little too much for the Asura engine to handle. I clown a lot on Rebellion because they're fucking hacks. And they never made a good game in their life. But this Asura engine in particular is a particularly egregious piece of work that they've been, updating. The Sniper Elite games still use it. At this point, it's much improved.
Shit and gunpowder in here.
But in this era, it just could not facilitate a fucking half-decent first-person shooter to save their fucking lives. They just had no sense for, what gunplay is, for challenging gunplay. The only thing they knew how to do to dial up difficulty was just make enemies do a lot of damage in short order, which, isn't something I'm necessarily against. But when the gunplay is so loosey-goosey, when, every shot is perfect, when... It's just such an incongruous thing, is the problem to me. Is that it feels like mud, it doesn't control particularly well. The physics of, moving a mouse cursor around or moving a crosshair around, of just movement in general, feels so bad. And the fact that enemies can TTK you in basically, half a second, I don't know. It just feels bad.
It's one of those things that when I was playing it over streaming, I couldn't tell, and I've mentioned this before, that it's, the streaming part was an issue, but I also couldn't tell how much of the issues I was having was stream delay and how much of the issues I was having was, this is just the game.
I mean, a lot of it is just the game, as you can see from wonderful moments like that, where they just, rather than killing me while reloading, they just continue to charge.
Now, we do have a say something nice.
It makes it a lot easier that you have invincibility while you're doing the kill animations. So I can get away with shit like this.
That was, I think, a prototype.
What have you got?
Sat recon taken an hour ago shows a cargo ship's at the Ungi docks. We think it's taking on the remaining missiles. You can't let that happen.
Copy that. I'll head for the docks as soon as I sanitize this shithole.
I think of the game Prototype a lot and how bad, doing the quick time events in that game is, because you take damage when you're doing any sort of kill move. So if you have to take out a tank or something, the way you take out a tank is you have a 5 to 7 second long quick time event, and while you're doing that, there's 30 guys opening fire on you.
Oh. Now, I do wish it recovered your health or started your health regen while you're doing the kill animations, just to put it over the edge. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
Do a Doom 2016 thing where you get health.
That would be good. That would have required them coming up with that idea, though, before someone else did, which is just not in Rebellion's wheelhouse.
That would be extremely forward-thinking. Sleepy.
Could you tell that guy was scripted for a minute? That was doing his little canned animation. You couldn't actually hear him.
The American taxpayer, but we know some of the missiles already made it out. The intel eggheads say they're heading for the docks, where a ship's waiting to take them on board. What we don't know is where the missiles are going. Yeah, man, I guess it's time for a little ocean air.
The weather, by the way, cold. That's all you need. That's pretty descriptive, I would say. I do want to read from chat. Robin the NB with question marks saying, the Sniper Elite games are great. What do you mean they never made a good game? Have you ever played the first Sniper Elite? Not V2, the one that for PS2?
Johnny Baghead clarifies that K.I.S.S is contractually obligated, just like all Rebellion games.
Yes.
I will say, as the other half...
Fuck did I end up in Jersey?
Yeah, I made a funny joke. He said, how did I end up in Jersey? We're actually still in North Korea, believe it or not.
I will say, for the other half, or 2/5, or however much we separate this, for the other part of Bad Game Hall of Fame, I like Sniper Elite. Granted, rough start, but starting with V2, and especially up to Resistance, I really, really liked Resistance. I played a ton of that.
Robin asking, why am I contractually obligated? Because they made fucking dog shit games for the better part of 30 fucking years. That's why. They are my mortal enemies. Games like this and Shell Shock and the Alien vs. Predator games and Rogue Trooper and everything they made up until they started making an endless cavalcade of Sniper Elite games was objectively awful. These are like some of the cheapest...
Are you saying you don't like Never Dead?
No, I don't. I almost forgot about that. I mean, banger song by Megadeth. They nailed that part by getting Dave Mustaine on that. But Oh my god. I mean, like, the reason why they got so much work, this is something I had to answer a while back when I first started making fun of Rebellion, was people would ask me, how do they keep getting work? If they kept making such bad games, now we can hear this line uninterrupted, by the way. That's why I died deliberately.
What a shithole. How the fuck did I end up in Jersey?
Just as funny the second time. It was like, how do they keep getting contracts for games? And the answer is because they were one of the cheapest fucking studios that put in bids for stuff, because they had crazy turnaround times, which they accomplished by like fucking basically like working their workers into the dirt, basically grinding them into fucking dust, as they did with Core Design, who they acquired just to put on games they didn't want to work on proper. I mean, the working conditions there must have been like a fucking nightmare. Like, there's no way they could turn around these many games this quickly, of such poor quality too, mind you, without just exploiting the fuck out of everyone they had. So that is why I don't like Rebellion. I just don't think their business practices could possibly hold up under any scrutiny whatsoever. And also the two brothers who lead Rebellion are also like a pair of fucking losers who like to take photos of themselves on horseback and in front of their very like fancy cars. They're their $1 million cars. So I just think they're like a pair of fucking dweebs.
Cass, if you had a horse, you would definitely take pictures of you and that horse.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said horse. I meant a horse dressed in armor, and also the guy riding it is dressed as a medieval knight because one of the two brothers is a medieval reenactor. Which, you know, very funny to me personally. Sorry to any medieval actors, Renaissance Fair attendees, or historical reenactors in our audience, but shit's lame. I'm just making enemies tonight. This is my privilege to do here on the Bad Game Hall of Fame.
You be careful saying that, because next time you go to a medieval times and enjoy yourself a nice turkey leg, they'll say, the next match is against the Black Knight and Cassidy. Get their ass down to the ring.
I'll whip the ass of whoever they put me up against.
Motherfuckers.
I vaguely know of people who do that shit. Some of them could probably kick your ass. I'm just saying.
One more thing about...
listen.
Oh, you go ahead.
You already have nerds, right? Like a historically, like, group of people with a lot of pent-up anger at other people. You give them, like, workouts and a sword. I would not actually cross those people.
One more thing I wanted to mention about Rebellion. Another thing they fucking ruined is their tendency to ruin everything. It's something I mentioned on our podcast@badgamehallofame.com. There's the article about battle tank, Battle Zone, which the online Battle Zone game from the 90s, which Rebellion saw fit to remake and reboot, and in the process they absolutely killed the community that had still been around for that game. And so there's the article that interviews the guy that had like over 7,000 hours in that game on Steam, where they basically say like the community was begging Rebellion not to do this, begging them not to completely kill the community, the tight-knit community that exists around this game, and they just did it anyway. So that's another charge against them of the litany of charges you can hold against them. Okay, fuck it. I'm going to use the SMG. I mean, the pistol is super effective, but I'm also getting sick of dying, and I just kind of want to spray and pray at this point.
You know, I wouldn't mind going to medieval times. I've just been thinking about that for the past couple minutes. Never been to one. Wouldn't mind. I could do with, like, a big old turkey leg.
I went to one as part of a school trip back in the day. Our high school had our parents pay to go to medieval times as part of some fucking history class we were taking. I like the turkey leg well enough. It's just, the whole place smelled like horse manure, which is, makes sense because they had horses, on call. And I thought all the theatrics of like the jousting tournament and the sword fights were fake as fuck.
I mean, they are because it's a show, and they're not, like, I want to see them kill each other.
Goddamn right. Well, there's a story of Terrafan Grey Dragon, the medieval reenactor who died by accidentally stabbing himself with their own jousting stick after trying to joust a styrofoam cup.
Ugh.
So that's...
Also, Carrie the Skunk did bring up that the thing I was going to mention is that, I could go to medieval times and I could possibly meet Randy Pitchford.
Oh, that's true. He might give you a cool USB stick.
Bye. Did I ever tell the story on stream about how I accidentally went to a Renaissance festival?
No, but now you have to.
Okay, so this was in high school, and I was off at a...
Cinco. What are you seeing out there?
It's a go fuck, Admiral. Your intel was bullshit. Missiles are going by land, not sea. These motherfuckers are loading them on a train.
Christ. Can you intercept in time?
If you stop yapping,
All right, stay quiet for another second. The most famous line in the game is coming up.
suck my balls, my hairy fucking big balls. Wrap them around your fucking mouth.
Oh, Dick.
In my memory, that line went on for like another couple seconds.
No, that's as prompt as it is. You know, we're prone to exaggerate the extent of that line in our own minds and our memories of this game and the incredible dialogue within.
So I was on a school trip in high school for a cool.
I was mashing the F button. I was absolutely mashing the F button there, and nothing was happening because I was too close.
So I was in a club in high school called Mu Alpha Theta, which was like a math tournament thing. Now, to be clear, I'm not good at math. I just am like good at like logic and stuff, and like kind of like working shit out to the extent that I can kind of fake being good at math sometimes.
Just as good.
Yeah, or figuring out situations to arrange things in which we end up winning anyway, like convincing other people to throw. Anyway, so I was at this thing for Mu Alpha Theta, and I finished my thing up early. The teacher slash club runner was like, "Want to go just get some lunch?" I'm like, "Sure." We go get some lunch. Some other people in the group end up joining us, and he's like, let's just all go for a walk, because we were out of town. So we were going through a walk through this like park that's around there, and we see some people off in the distance, and we're like, "Oh, it looks like some sort of birthday party." And we get a little closer. We don't want to disturb them because they're having a birthday, and they're like, "Oh no, they're wearing weird stuff."
Look at this fucking
Why are
iron
they-
sight, by the way. Absolutely obscene.
So we're like, they're kind of dressed weird. Why are they dressed like medieval people? Why is there a horse? We just went to a Ren Fair. So just completely randomly, without knowing it, just because we decided to take a walk after lunch, we found ourselves in a Ren Fair, and they're like, "Okay, I guess we're Ren Fair people now," and we just hung out for like an hour doing Ren Fair shit. Like, completely out of character. Everyone was dressed for a Ren Fair. We just show up out of the woods wearing modern clothing like we're time travelers who just stumbled back into the past.
I'm reminded of the Mr. Show sketch where they do the Civil War reenactments, and then they have a Star Trek convention that is also nearby, so you have like the Star Trek nerds coming in and being like, "We appear to have been transported to a planet that's..." And they start feuding with each other.
That's close to what it was like. I mean, I think, like, we apologize, saying, like, "Hey, sorry, we kind of broke character for everybody here."
Fuckers, fuck!
Yeah, that's the only time in my life I've been to a Ren Fair, is because I accidentally walked into one as it was going on.
So much of this game requires taking damage, because the way that the scripting for enemies popping out and the oblique angles at which they come at you basically mean that you're going to take damage no matter what you try to do. So it's just a matter of seeing where the enemies spawn, then quickly get into cover. Sick. Grenade launcher, by the way. I don't know, the combat encounters in this game are so ill-conceived.
That did not do anything to him. That did not do anything to him.
Yeah, because the first one whiffed because he was in the middle of an animation, and animations take priority over like hitboxes or the ability to do damage in this.
Or maybe it was that the whole time, actually. Maybe he was just propped up like that. You know what I would love to see in this game? I would love to see one of the soldiers take one of their friends hostage.
Fuck these guys.
The train's loaded.
You watch yourself, Marcinko.
Yeah. Sure, whatever you say, boss.
Keep a low profile, asshole. We don't want to make any headlines.
You haven't lived till you've crossed North Korea on the lid of a goddamn train. Fucking wind is so cold, it'd freeze the balls off a fucking polar bear. I hit the border with Russia and it doesn't look like the end of the line. Are the Soviets taking possession of the missiles? Only one way to find out.
So now we're in the USSR. Don't know how lucky we are. Let's see what snide comment Dick has about this.
Don't fuck.
Can't believe North Korea and the USSR are in cahoots with one another. Truly, it's America against the world. Oh, I'm mashing the F button again. Oh, well.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I tapped the G button at some point during that. Not that it matters. A nice stealthy kill there where we slowly lower him to the ground despite getting shot at by another enemy.
I have an idea the next time you get into a situation where you can just walk up right behind someone without them noticing, right? If someone's just standing there. I want you to toss a grenade straight at the ground in front of you and then hit F. Take them out.
I think that can be done. Oh, what's this corner? Ooh,
Nothing.
I'm trying to walk forward here and... Shaky. Bad geometry. Who'da thunk?
Back to the USS.R. I hope I'd never come back to this shithole.
A grenade right there and then...
Get dead.
Oh.
That animation didn't last as long
Yeah,
as I thought it was
nope.
gonna last.
It was a good idea. We got unlucky, unfortunately.
USS.R. I hope I'd never come back to this shithole.
It's a good thing the checkpoint was right there.
I'll get it out of
See,
the next guy.
That one would have been perfect.
I know, but I didn't want to risk it.
Fuck bag.
Get dead, fuck bag. Alright, this guy looks like a prime target. There you go. Underwhelming, I know, but so is this entire game, so... Also, anything you do to interrupt a reload animation means you have to start the entire reload animation over again. Which is, you know, not completely uncommon, but the way this game does it, there's something that rubs me wrong. Like, you know, magazine's back in the gun, right? You saw the animation put the magazine back in the gun, and it had a few extra frames after that, but because I turned away, because I got out of cover before the animation fully completed, like, most games at this point, at this day and age, will have, like, some flexibility there. So you can, like, you know, do something that would interrupt a reload animation typically. But, like, you know, you have some flexibility where it doesn't, like, ruin it for you and you still have the ammo in the gun. Or you have, like, an in-between stage where the magazine is removed from the gun. And then, like, as soon as you, like, finish whatever animation it is, it picks the reload animation back up from the point where you're inserting the magazine. Just other games handle things better than Rogue Warrior does, is basically what I'm getting at here. I know it's a shocking statement, and I know it's going to upset all the Rogue Warrior diehards, but, you know, I just got to call them like I sees them. God, grenades are worthless, except when they aren't. Except when grenades are super effective. They're completely ineffective. By the way, it's not aim down sights button. It's not right click in this case to pop out of cover, as it would be in, like,
space.
No, it's picking the direction, which I get, like, why you'd want to have it like this, or you can pop out to the left or the right or up or what have you. But it would work just as well, if not way better and way more, like, convenient to just have it be that you aim down sights while behind cover to go into the third-person mode. That would feel a lot better.
I swear when you're doing the tutorial for, like, cover, something said press space.
Space works. I think I have it double bound, if anything, to space and E. Yeah, space does work here. I just prefer having it more immediately accessible. No jumping in this game, so it's not like you're using spacebar for anything else. Why didn't you push him over the railing? They set this up to be like a push him over the railing situation, and then half the time it just doesn't work.
Perfectly positioned over that railing. Time to choke him out. You never know what's... Oh, now he does it when I set up the joke.
Shoddy fucking commie engineering.
That's right, the communists couldn't build anything, and their trains certainly didn't run on time either.
I think you're thinking about the Italians. Right? That's what they said about Mussolini, right?
That the trains ran on time and Mussolini's Italy?
Yeah.
No.
This is not what
Charky,
they said.
no.
That's the...
It's Stalin. Charky. No, Charky.
That's...
No, it's about Stalin, Soviet Union, Charky.
Motherfuckers.
That's the thing people say. They're wrong. But that's the famous story, is that people said he made the trains run on time. He didn't. But that's what people
I'm a dumbass.
said.
People are saying that. No, it's about the Soviet... People, look this up, please. Show me a source. Show me that it was about Mussolini's fascist Italy and not about the Russian Soviet Union.
From howstuffworks.com. In fact, there's an old saying about Mussolini that goes something like this. Mussolini made the trains run on time.
Well...
It was an old saying to say, like, you know what, he was a horrible person, but at least he made the trains run on time. Which is wrong. He actually didn't. But that's the phrase.
Well, I guess that's doom on me. I guess I'm the fool. Slime Dinner is saying if you Google Stalin trains on time, all the top results are about Mussolini. Fuck! I was so confident about it too. That's the worst part. Louise VSC saying American education system.
Yeah.
It worked for Charky at least, okay? You know, if one of us has to be the dumb one, I guess I'll accept that. I guess I'll accept that I'm a moron. Now, I will say, I know I'm stupid, but if there's flames on the ceiling, right, I may not know my history, despite the fact I want to be a historian, but scientifically I can tell you that if the roof was on fire like this, there'd be no oxygen in this room. We would be dead right now.
I do like how the flames on the roof are just like a scrolling texture, though. Like you typed in, like, bracket, marquee, bracket on an HTML file.
Oh my god, chat is roasting me alive right now. I can't even get mad. I was so wrong. I was so completely wrong. Bulletproof glass. It's a hell of a thing.
You know, if you could take any solace, it's the fact that Mussolini did not make the trains run on time, despite the fact that that is the phrase that people say.
They also couldn't win a single military encounter in the entire history of the Italian military. One of the worst trained armies of all time. Look up their campaigns in South Africa for some incredible stories of just how fucking inept every Italian soldier was. Great moments in military history.
Actually, Google's telling me that's Stalin.
Go to hell. Shut up. Also, I am going to choose this opportunity. Magic Meow says, I still love the concept of wanting to be a historian, like that's a profession. Historians are a profession! There's professors of history! They're called historians!
Go to college for that.
Come on, Carmen! The truth is that when I was in high school, I really did want to be a historian. I wanted to be a military historian. I loved watching the History Channel. And I wanted to be the guy that would talk in front of, like, a bookcase about, like, you know, fucking Hitler's and how much he sucked or whatever that it is that historians do. And then I realized that I have absolutely no sense for geography whatsoever, that I am so geographically challenged that I could not track a single military campaign through, like, its battles because I could not tell you, like, where anything was on a map. And so my dream was quickly dispelled in that sense.
As the Germans stormed across
Jersey.
No, the Germans were Europe, right?
Thanks, Grenade. Fuck's sake.
Magic Meow says, it's okay, Cass. Most of those historians that get on the History Channel don't know anything either.
Well, they know a whole lot about ancient aliens.
Motherfuckers! Hide and seek, motherfuckers.
Hide and seek as I take cover. And you know what? Dick's right. They're completely blindsided. The guy in the distance there has no idea. Let's put on night vision goggles.
Dick puts his hands over his eyes and goes, "I'm invisible, motherfuckers."
Trick or treat, assholes.
Another story that's highly embarrassing for me. As long as I'm being completely shamed on this episode, I don't have peripheral vision. I have really fucked up eyes. I can't see 3D. I'm stereo blind. So when I was 5 or 6 years old, I thought I could see through walls because I would stand, behind a corner, and one eye, half my face would be behind the wall, and the other eye would clearly be on the other side and able to see past it, but I couldn't comprehend that one eye was unobstructed, so I thought I could see through walls.
I can see through walls, but only if I'm standing real close to the corner.
At a very particular angle. Who thought this would be the playthrough where I really embarrassed myself?
The CIA shows up at your door and you're like, "Cassidy, we would like to hire you for a special mission. You are a prodigy at this."
We hear them. You ever heard of the men who stare at goats? Yeah, we're thinking that.
You know how I don't generally watch movies. I don't generally have an interest in watching movies.
You saw The Men Who Stare at Goats with George Clooney?
I have not, but I want to see it. That is on my list of movies I actually wanted to watch.
Son of a bitch.
Say again, Marcinko?
Bad fucking juju, Admiral. The missile program isn't Korean. It's fucking Soviet.
Jesus Christ. They kept it in their neighbor's yard to keep it off our radar.
Looks like it. Hold on. I got company.
Obey!
I've got the destination point for the missiles. I'm going after them.
Negative. They get wind of you, and the Cold War gets a lot hotter.
I'm feeling the heat already.
I mean it, Dick. No bullshit. You wrap this thing now, or I will nail your ass to the wall for insubordination.
Say it again, boss. You're breaking up.
I think that might be the last we hear of that guy for a while in this game. Becomes the one-man show for Marcinko. I just want to shout out Lawfree in chat, who says they had the same eye issues and they did the same exact thing. Awesome. That's fucking awesome. Thank you for saying that. That makes me feel so much better. Stereo blind folk unite. Ah, man. I think this is my favorite episode of the show already. This is my favorite episode of this stream. Ah, fuck. I'm not putting on the best game performance here. I may be a little lackluster when it comes to the playthrough part of this playthrough, but I'm having a great time.
Like a fish.
I mean, this is my comfort genre. It's a first-person shooter / third-person shooter. It's...
We have to find the answer by ourselves.
I'm redeeming this so I can say something nice. At least the checkpointing is very generous.
Yeah, that's fair. This could have been a game where when you die, you have to start from the very beginning of the level. It's short enough for it that they could have probably done that. They could have tried that.
I'm not going to be saying much nice about this game for free, so I had to redeem that.
Oh, you go fuck yourself.
Come on, Grenade. Work.
It's not going to do shit.
Fuck!
Yeah.
Oh, there we go! Yeah!
Well, a little delayed.
Well, because it blew the truck up. The truck had to take a little bit more damage for it to blow up, so... Man,
that grenade didn't do it. As long as one more bullet doesn't hit it, we'll be fine.
Oh, no!
The idea of chip damage is extremely funny to me.
In a military shooter?
Not in any context. Like, in a fighting game, you get hit with a huge, rising uppercut that sends you in the sky, and you're like, oh, I'm fine, as long as he doesn't tap my ankle. Oh! But that also applying to stuff like, explosives, like...
Doom on you, assholes.
What'd he say?
Doom on you, assholes.
Okay.
He got his fucking panties in a bunch about insubordination. threatening to court-martial my ass. Man, I don't give a rusty fuck what he thinks. I'm paid for results, not methods. Man, I tracked these missiles to their base in Soviet Russia. Now I need to find out just what those fucking assholes are cooking up there. I need to put an end to this bullshit.
Tiger Chimera pointing out that Dick, that Doom on You level isn't until later. That's right. He's totally out of sequence right now. He's totally out of order. This is the halfway point of this game, I think. F.U.B.A.R. This mission is an interesting one.
I fucking hate hedge mazes.
Now, that gives me worry. The first time I heard this, I'm like, oh no, a maze level in this game? Don't worry, folks. We won't be here for the next few hours. It's not really much of a maze, is it?
I hate sewer levels.
That's what this game is missing. That's what would have put it over the edge if they just put a 9th level in.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's missing that Matt Hazard edge.
I mean, it's a funnier game than Mad Hazard. It's okay, you know what? This pistol is failing me now. But luckily, I happen to know of a weapon we can pick up in a second. Well, second relative
Just need to grab it from the other side.
Alright, let's just fucking SMG bum rush these fuckers. How did that dude not... Ay, ay, ay. There we go. How am I this bad at this? Maybe it's because I've been pounding back the Red Bull and vodka. I'm gonna blame it on that. But I'm having a great time dying in this game, so...
You on this, fuckhead?
I'm thinking of how much Dick talks in this game. I think it would be fun if they also characterize Dick Marcinko as having no object permanence.
Damn Jesus fucking Christ.
So like anytime you crouch behind cover, you go like, shit, they're gone.
Motherfuckers.
You finally made it, friends.
Thank you for the raid, Mayor's Bun.
Thank you very kindly. We're just rogue warrioring it up.
Yep.
Demo Dick Marcinko's finest hour.
Is it? Legit question. Is it?
It's certainly his legacy. No, you know what? You're right. The Iran hostage crisis. It was truly his shining moment. What is with this dude? Why does this dude in particular always get me? Does he have like some like special value attached to him? Like I legit don't get it. That dude. He's like that one zombie in Resident Evil 1 who comes down the stairs and is like inexplicably has like 5 times the health of every other zombie in the game. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Or is that like a glitch thing, or is that...
No, it's supposed to be scripted. He's supposed to be like... Okay, this motherfucker. Oh, you know what? Is he wearing a different uniform? Does he have more health? No. No, I'm just imagining. I'm just trying to come up with excuses. Yeah.
Do you just have a cooler gun than everyone else?
Feels like Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
All right, check it out. New pistol. Swap it out. It's got less ammo. It's not silenced, and it does exactly the same damage. So it's just like a straight up downgrade.
Also, not dual wield. Like I was led to believe by what you picked up.
Ay, ay, ay. Don't tell me it's the start of the mission. Oh, thank God. It's in this very embarrassing playthrough for me. I at least want to be able to get through the game.
Tanya Cat asks, you ever think there'll be a comeback of these schlocky budget FPSs? I don't think they ever left. Like, I mean, are you talking about from like a major publisher, like a Bethesda? I'm sure they're still around. I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
Wasn't there a dude over here? Oh, there he is.
Yes.
See, the problem with this game, not even the problem with this game, the problem with me is that I love rushing in. I don't like taking cover. I think cover is for cowards in video games. Just from years of playing like competitive shooters, I'm just like, well, why would I take cover when I can just kill the enemy? So I think I do need to slow my roll, but will I? Fuck no.
Fuckers have something to do.
Oh, fuck.
Luis PSC says, Prem de picadas des insectos lo figran. Followed up with, sorry, I was doing an Excel sheet.
Great. I'm glad people can multitask while watching this. Now let's get inside. Let's get out of this snow. Let's get out of this screen filter that puts snow on the screen. Oh, very subtle transition here.
It's only lightly snowing inside.
That's the power of the Osser engine, baby. Sniper rifle. We might as well show this thing off. I like a Dragunov. I think it's a cool gun.
I'm Headful says, is Demo Dick what Dick Marcinko actually calls himself?
It was his nickname, yeah. I think he refers to himself in the Rogue Warrior books as such, too. You can't no-scope with this thing. Or maybe you can. Yeah, I guess you can. As long as you have a sense of center.
Here comes the pain.
Oh, get the fuck out of there. Oh, you can't sprint with the Dragunov equip. That's... Didn't realize that.
I notice you've given up on your good gun.
Well, I need to show this pistol off for this mission, because I think it's the only mission it appears in. Because they realize, oh wait, we made a useless gun. Well, we already made it.
Back?
Is there what?
Do you ever get it back?
Oh yeah, when you go into a new mission, it just resets your weapons
okay.
to the MP5 and the Beretta. So it'll return shortly.
Jesus.
Oh. That'll take care of that. And I think there's someone behind us as well now. Hilarious.
There's also someone behind you again.
What?
Kind of. I'm looking at the mini-map.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's a mini-map in this game.
That's why I was calling out like enemies to you earlier, because I was looking at that.
Whoops! Probably could be leveraging that mechanic a little better. Though how Dick has an innate sense of where enemies are at any moment in time is unexplained in the course of this game.
Listen, I feel like sometimes I need a little bit more credit for knowing what I'm talking about.
I know.
If there's two things I know, it's mini maps and Mussolini.
The two M's. Yeah, so the Dragunov's useless. There's never any like real like long range encounters in this game. For one thing, for another, the scope is so zoomed in that it basically condemns you to getting completely like rocked by anyone in your immediate vicinity. So maybe we
Motherfucking bitch.
let's take the shotgun, why don't we? Which also sucks. I think it's meant to fire slugs, because it certainly doesn't have like a lot of spread that you would hope for, or any range whatsoever.
What's the iron sight on that look like? Cool.
That's like a solid third of the screen, right? What were we using that screen space for anyway? And that was absolutely close range. How is... It took 3 shots to kill this guy at mid to close range. Come on.
I saw this video that got recommended to me the other day of someone testing less lethal rounds on shotguns. Like different ones available to buy. A lot of them, like, I don't know what you're getting out of it when you buy them. Because I guess theoretically, the idea is like for home protection, and you don't straight up want to murder somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Or a less lethal round, at least on a civilian level. But some of them were like, there was one that was stuffed with pellets that were rubber ducks. Like, they were literally like just tiny little toy rubber ducks packed into the shell.
You may not kill someone with that, but they should. The person you shoot should still take you to court for it, for cruel and unusual.
You would kill someone with that, because he shot those things at like ballistics gel, with like a t-shirt covering it. That's one of the ones that penetrated the deepest. And not only that, but the rubber ducks broke apart inside and shrapneled. So that was extremely deadly.
Fuckers.
Although the deadliest one was he tried these two that were both basically bean bags inside of a shell, and one was sold for consumers, or like, you know, just basically citizens, and one was sold as like a police grade version of it. The thing is, when they were sold like that, they are mislabeled. So the less lethal one that's supposed to be used by people like in their homes is actually the police grade one that will fucking kill someone.
Whoops! Look, I played a lot of SWAT 4, and the beanbag rounds in that game work the way they're supposed to, so... You can't kill someone with them. And as we all know, SWAT 4 is the most realistic video game ever devised.
Like, when he showed off the one that said it was the civilian grade less lethal beanbag one, that went like a good like 4 inches deep.
Sorry, I was testing how effective shooting the lights out is, and it's vaguely effective, unless you literally stand still without shooting anybody, in which case, you know, they will eventually shoot you.
You know, I hate being interested in like gun stuff on YouTube, like gun videos, because they're interesting videos, but I feel like most of the people who make them are schmucks.
Okay, watch In Range TV. That dude's cool.
Also, the fact that I feel like it ruins my recommendations to give me.
Yeah, that's unavoidable, unfortunately, even if you watch In Range TV, who constantly rallies against, like, police brutality and the whitewashing of history and erasure of, like, you know, trans soldiers and Custer's army and stuff like that, and who constantly, like, you know, speaks up for disenfranchised groups. One of the few good gun channels on YouTube, if you are a gun sicko and you don't already know, but you're also a leftist-leaning person who isn't, like, fetishizing guns in your pursuit of... I don't know. I mean, I know a lot about guns just from playing a lot of video games, watching a lot of movies, and, you know, my brief period of military history. But, you know, I also would so quickly take a world without guns.
Military history as in studying them, not military history as in being in the military.
No,
correct?
Of course not. Yes.
Shit. You reading me, Admiral?
Marcinko! God damn it, where the hell have you been?
I've located the Soviet missile silo. Matter of fact, I'm standing in the control center.
I don't care if you found the Virgin Mary doing a goddamned handstand. You disobeyed a direct order. I am gonna court-martial your ass.
Listen, Admiral, we got a shit ton of trouble and no shovel. Computers here are the core of a guidance system. It's anti-ballistic and it's online.
You are not serious.
The commies got themselves a working missile defense shield. They can shoot our nukes right out of the sky. That gives them first strike capability. No
I love
retaliation.
the Star Trek program.
Holy shit. You're talking about the end of the Cold War.
You're next.
They beat us to it.
They won't. These are targeting computers. I'll retarget. Use the Soviets' own missiles to wipe this place off the map.
Don't be an idiot, Dick. This job is bigger than your ego. I'll have a full team on the ground ASAP.
I'm here. They're not. I'll sit it out in the bunker.
Negative, Commander. That is completely insane.
Brother, my dick.
Oh.
Hold on.
I hope literally anyone pegged what I was doing as a Megadeth reference, and not just me being
Yes, I did.
straight up treasonous.
I didn't want to talk over the...
The Soviet fucking Union can fondle my hairy nuts.
On
that
that
Megadeth
term,
album. Oh, never mind.
Take that, Russia.
millions we dumped into that goddamn Star Wars program, who the hell had thought that the fucking commies would beat us to the punch? Hey, man, the only thing capable of taking down the defense in time is me. These assholes down there are gonna wish they'd pulled duty at the palace today. A major shitstorm's heading their way.
I do love that this game, you know, despite being, you know, the completely jingoistic, you know, America, we're the best, also admits, like, yeah, the Russians were more technologically adept than we were. They totally beat us in the Star Wars program, totally came up with first strike capability. They're total geniuses. Our programs are completely inferior. It's just like, what a weird concession for the sake of making them out to be, like, you know, an actual threat.
Oh, it's like how they always have like Nazi super weapon shit, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that Megadeth album I referenced, United Dominations, like, has 2 songs on it that I kind of fuck with, but it is one of the worst albums I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's not great. Megadeth, later year Megadeth. I love Megadeth. You know, I love Dave in the sense that, you know, he's a musical genius. He's such a fucking weirdo and loser and all that. It's really tough to be a Megadeth fan. They make it so hard on a day-to-day basis, but...
Like, what's that one song? America Stan on that album? It's like one
Just
of the most
another day
songs.
away from America Stan, when God versus God.
It is one of the most embarrassing songs I've ever heard.
The undoing of man. Do we still have the soundboard clips? Do we still have the fucking you know the ones?
Yes, I know the ones. Let me this one, right?
Wow, Dave sounds really different in that clip. That's before his voice got gravelly, I guess. It's Man, I can't have anything on this show. I think they're in the other server, the secret server.
Oh yeah.
Hello, me. Meet the real me. Nice story. Digest.
Sick. And now we're copyright struck, just to make sure we have that DMCA on us. Megadeth will be making all the money off of this video, off of our AdSense on this one. That's all right, because I used to pirate their albums, so let's consider it paying Dave back, I guess.
That America Stands song, I remember listening to it in what was it, fucking 2007, so I was in college.
I'm trying to pick up this fucking machine gun, but
There you go.
Ugh.
And there's a line, like, at the very start of the song, where he goes from New York, Qatar to California. It's like this.
Yeah, fuck, what's the name of that song?
Shit. America Stand.
Is that America Stand? I thought it was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's America Stand with a K in instead of a C.
We're using that LMG, which has the least obtrusive iron sights, making it the best weapon in the game, besides the pistol, of course, besides the starter pistol. And, you know, the recoil doesn't really suffer much. I mean, I'm aiming down sights, and it's hitting its mark. Let's see hip fire. That's really controllable muzzle climb. And again, with iron sights on, it's just... Like, for people who aren't, like, huge FPS players, which I know is, like, you know, a lot of our audience, and a lot of our audience are just, like, retro gamer nerds, you know, 8-bit, 16-bit, so on and so forth, but, like, if you're someone who plays a lot of first-person shooters and you come to this game, it just feels so rotten. Everything about it is so fucking amateur hour. It really is, like, striking, and I would hope and assume that people who aren't even people who are you know, well-seasoned FPS players would just play this and immediately be able to flag it as this feels like dirt. You know, that extends to like all the Osira engine games, especially Shell Shock 2, Blood Trails, and the 2010 Alien vs. Predator game, which are just basically this exact iteration of the engine, or exactly this version. Because again, Ozra had been in development, had been actively worked on and iterated on over the course of decades at Rebellion.
I really need to play the ladder AVP game again.
It's the worst.
Just to feel it again, right?
Homie, it is the worst game. It is so fucking embarrassingly bad.
I remember the Predator campaign not being good. I remember that.
The human campaign is good. The alien campaign sucks. Every part of that game is rotten to the core.
I'm going to have to play it again. I don't know how well it runs in the year of our Lord 2025.
Probably fucking as well as this, which is to say it probably requires like a lot of work to actually get up and running. Because these games are so identical in terms of their underlying code, in terms of... Okay, the one downside to this LMG is that I'm dying a lot, apparently. So I guess I'll switch back to the pistol at this point. I'm taking for granted that the checkpoints are so generous that I can get away with dying constantly. Okay, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm not going to die for the rest of this mission. I will play slow. I'll play the game as it's probably meant to be played. And I will try to get through it in one piece. All right, you ready, folks?
Yeah,
I'm turning on tactical gamer mode.
God damn, Jesus fucking Christ.
It's so much more boringer to watch, though. It's so much more slow to play. To, like, actually wait for your health to recover and take cover. You can see why I don't do it. I mean, the 5 seconds, the 5 extra seconds it takes is totally, you know, not worth it when we waste a full 5 minutes replaying the same stretch of level.
You can tell me. I have it. Do you have ADHD or something?
I
have it too.
Maybe. I just don't like wasting time. Again, what it really comes from is playing multiplayer games where cover is like a fool's errand. Because, you know, players can just get around cover or toss grenades. You know, like, often the best strategy in a lot of first-person shooters is to just bum rush motherfuckers. Because they, for whatever reason, don't see it coming. And if you have better reflexes than them...
The thing is, and this is the thing I've learned with fighting games as well, is that when you're approaching single player and when you're approaching multiplayer, you have to approach them as two fundamentally different games. Because an AI is not going to react the same way as a human.
Yeah, and they toss way more AI enemies at you than they do human enemies in most contexts. I mean, this game does have an online mode too that is impossible to play because no one played it. Even the week it came out, no one was playing it. I would still love to find other people who have this game and to organize a multiplayer night. We can't do it tonight on short notice, obviously, but one of these days...
Is this like peer-to-peer?
I don't know. I have not done enough research. I've seen footage. It's the only mode that exists in this. Remember that how ambitious the plans for this multiplayer mode were? They just scrapped all that shit and made just like deathmatch and team deathmatch. And I think maybe one other mode. And I think it's like 8 players capped. And I think it's like classic style where you pick up weapons around the arena that is like show up in different like spawn points. So you have to like this memorize the map rotations. But also, you know, the maps aren't like particularly well designed and the game doesn't play super good. So like, why would anyone have supported this game's multiplayer past a certain point? Other than to get the achievements, which are tied to the multiplayer, which are the only achievements I don't have in this fucking game.
Remember how like Spec Ops The Line, it's like Raison d'Air is to be kind of like the anti-Call of Duty and to like criticize the constant like coming out of these multiplayer like military shooter games, and then the publisher was like, yeah, but can you add a multiplayer mode
with progression and level ups for all your cool guns and prestige icons, and you grow, you rise through the ranks to commander general of the army when you reach the maximum level in the game or whatever the fuck.
Like, we know you're focusing all this story stuff, but no one's gonna buy a game for story. But everyone's gonna come to Spec Ops The Line for the multiplayer.
What a dark fucking era for video games, where every game was mandated by publishers to have a tacked-on fucking multiplayer mode.
With a season pass.
With
Or not a season
not
pass.
back
I'm
then.
sorry.
They didn't have the season pass hadn't been innovated back then.
It wasn't season pass. It was the online pass where you had to like.
No, not even that. It was just progression hooks. It was just pointless progression, leveling up and prestige and that sort of stuff.
I'm pretty sure Spec Ops was in that era where like you had a card that came with the game if you bought a physical copy. That was like, this lets you play online, and if you didn't have that, you had to pay $10.
That's not a season pass. That was just the EA schema. Yeah.
I did say season pass, and I did say like, wait, I don't mean season pass.
Wait, did I say EA? I meant EA when they were doing their the fucking like codes that would come with the game, so they could like when people were trying to discourage used games by locking you out of functionality in your game.
And other companies did pick up on that too in that era.
We should probably get out of here, huh? Well, that guy didn't seem too plussed by anything happening here.
I'm gonna safely assume that all these explosions are triggered based on where you're standing at any given time.
We got our choice of guns in here, but I'll stick with this, what do they call this gun? I can't even see it because... Oh, you know what I could do? I could pick up a different gun. The AR-4. The conceit of several of these guns in here. Oh, a Spaz 12 with a fucking magazine in it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, right, okay. Is that these are meant to be like, you know, Korean clones of actual weapons or something like that. So you see like the type weapon, or those Chinese clones. I think probably both.
Dick doesn't like any of them.
But he'll use them in a pinch. Alright, this room might be a little tough. If my memory serves.
Johnny says, I will say this game would have come out when both season passes and online passes were becoming the norm. Horrendous time in gaming.
Online passes. I think that's the... But no, I feel like season passes really took off with the idea of live service games, or like battle passes, which are effectively the same thing.
You saw that too with Call of Duty as well.
Not until the fucking Black Ops 3 or 4 was. It was the first one to have a fucking battle pass in it.
Not a battle. I'm not talking about battles. I'm talking about a season pass, because like they had like the season pass for the maps.
Okay, season passes for the maps, so you would get like a bundled, like, you know, the DLC maps or whatever.
Yeah. Because they were doing that shit back in Ghost, at least. Bobinator asking, was this a full-price game at the time?
Cocksuckers. I'm headed for a hydroelectric dam that supplies power to the sub-pen, where the Soviets are installing a mobile ABM device on a submarine. Man, if I could take out them goddamn turbines, I'll be able to keep that sub in dry dock longer. We need to roll a hard 8 on this one. Otherwise, brother, it's goodbye free world. It's a bit of a long shot, but it sure as hell beats the alternative.
Whether this game was full price or not, I think it was probably priced 40 or 50. Would be my assumption. It'd be fucking criminal of them to have charged $60 for this. Up and up we go. They couldn't have started the mission at the top of the ladder. We had to absolutely have to do that. All right. Now, I think this mission wants me to snipe. I think they're trying to set me up here to be like tactical sniper man.
We have to find the answer by
time
ourselves.
for the pistol. Say something nice. Giant Baggett says, according to this article that he's linked to it from Ars Technica, that it was $60 on console.
Ay. Wild. Criminal. They knew what they had on their hands.
Which makes it hard then to follow that up with to say something nice.
Yeah, considering how despicable that pricing schema is. Yeah. Say something nice, the ragdolls in this game are fun. Credit where credit's due. Fun ragdolls.
I saw you, like, way earlier. You killed someone, and they did that fun thing where they die on their knees, and their torso kind of falls back, but not very far back. They just sort of, like, kind of awkwardly flop around. Like the deaths you see in Oblivion.
speaking of Bethesda, speaking of...
Yeah, that's right. I think this runs on Gamebryo, actually, instead of
What?
Bethesda.
What was that trend? Okay, I get the snow one, but I think there's like a volumetric fog effect here that isn't working.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard line on that fog.
Except when it's not. Except when the volumetric fog isn't
Yeah, see-
loading in.
yeah.
Again, the power of the Asura engine, folks. I wanted to melee kill that dude, but the game wouldn't let me. That's alright, we have a checkpoint exactly where I wanted it. Take fucking 2.
Okay.
I was
I've asked you
mashing
this
the F button again. I forget that if you're too close to people, the F button just doesn't work.
So I've asked you before. It's almost a recurring segment on the show, where I ask you like your opinions on like guns in games, and sometimes like favorite or least favorite. Do you have a favorite sniper rifle in a first-person shooter?
Yeah, fucking Stalker and the what? Not the S.N.A.F.U. Folk are gonna know what I'm talking about. I don't remember the name of it offhand right now, but it's the S.N.A.F.U. that has like an integrated scope on it and the integrated suppressor, and it's based on a real-life gun, which is again, I'm ashamed, I'm struggling to remember it, but it's
From what game?
From Stalker.
Oh, from Stalker. Okay. If I remember the name of it correctly, my favorite is
VSS Ventores. Thank
Headhunter.
you.
My favorite is the Headhunter from Bulletstorm. Because that was one where you could, like, steer the bullets after you've launched it.
Sure. Yes, it is the VSS Ventores, and my favorite pistol is the PB9, which is like an integrally suppressed macro. I love integral suppressors. I love guns that have these long-ass, wide-ass barrels that have integral suppressors in them. So, of course, I'm going to love, like, the S.N.A.F.U. and the VSS Ventores and the PB9. I fucking love those designs.
Oh, that's right. I remember the other thing about the sniper rifle in Bulletstorm was once you hit someone with the bullet, you can continue to steer the bullet along with the guy you've shot. So you can just drag that guy around and then detonate a charge to blow him up.
Hell yes.
Bulletstorm was good.
Yeah,
Play
it was.
Again. The ending kind of sucked, but it was a good game.
You know,
If I play the most recent re-release, I can play with Duke Nukem.
Oh, that's true. Something I was going to raise earlier, and just to, put a counterpoint to my knowledge of guns that I've completely betrayed by not remembering the name of my favorite gun, is that, in a heartbeat, without hesitation, I would trade every first-person shooter game ever made. I would strip the world, I would deprive the world of the likes of Doom and Quake and every, game that I love so much if it meant a world without guns. Fuck guns, fuck the military, fuck, gun violence, all that shit, obviously. And, it's so not worth it just to have fucking video games, right? That's the counterpoint to my weird admiration for video game guns or whatever the fuck.
Back to first-person bow and arrow games.
The way God intended. Lovely Planet is where the FPS genre peaked. Tiger Camara says, we have so many other genres of video game without guns. Yeah, but they all suck. I mean, realistically, first-person shooters are the only genre I actually enjoy. Besides rail shooters, I guess, which are technically another first-person shooter, but, neither here nor there somehow.
Do you like a Tetris?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Falling block
Tetris
puzzle.
doesn't have guns, usually. I'm sure there is a Guntress for DOS out there somewhere.
But then every shape would be an L shape, wouldn't it? Every block that falls would just be by the nature of a shape of a gun.
You have a sniper rifle as your L shape, or as your I, rather.
New objective, by the way, get the fuck off the dam. Even our mission objectives are vulgar. Isn't that so funny? Has the cursing shtick gotten old for you yet in this game?
Your Z shape could be a pistol with a stock. Now I'm just thinking that I'm trying to think the square piece.
You're just theory crafting now. A square
Yeah.
piece could be like C4 plastic explosive.
That's not a gun.
Here, hold this for me, you little bitch.
Oh, good God, that was lucky for him.
Oh.
Yeah, Johnny says that the T-piece could be an Uzi.
Oh, or like a MAC-10 would work. Any sort of like one of those like compact
Yeah.
submachine guns.
Fuck, we should start a Kickstarter to make Guntress.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. We need to hire programmers and stuff like that.
And
I
graphic
think it's pretty
artists.
cheap.
And a composer. Basically, people to handle every aspect of game development. We're just ideas people
would
here,
be-
folks.
It would be like the music would be a cover of the Tetris theme done with the sound of like gun reloads and cocking and all that stuff.
Or like that cover of All-Star where the guy shoots the Glock for, you know which video I'm talking about? Except it would just
No,
all be
but I
gun
can
sound.
imagine it.
How many levels have revolved around us blowing shit up and then having to evacuate because we detonated it too fucking early? Why doesn't Dick just wait like 2 minutes in all these scenarios? They buy himself a little bit more time. And how did I die from behind cover there?
He's got to make sure. He's got to make sure.
Which one of you?
Johnny says, we're like Inafune's concept studio. We're ideas people.
Because they certainly ain't competent game developers there.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus, that stung. Ooh, ouchies.
You.
That's gonna leave a mark. Another thing, by the way, just this is another small thing. Can't mount over cover. I feel like that's integral to a decent cover system, is the ability to mount over it. Also, the ability to not get
interested
shot
in
while you're
what's-
behind cover. Have some
I'm
invulnerability.
interested in what stance that he was about to take before you got killed, because it looked like he was raising his hands up above his head and then backwards to try and blind fire.
Oh, I still have the Dragonov. What a drag. All right, let's get the worst SMG in history. The worst iron sights ever on a weapon.
This goddamn shit.
A lot easier to fire from third person over the shoulder like that. Don't mind me, I'm just snooping and pooping.
God damn, I'm getting.
I don't remember the intro to Nicki Minaj's Stupid Hoe being this long.
Got a cracking like a bad back.
Shit.
And we're good.
Alright, to your left.
God damn, Jesus.
And up there, too.
Yeah, up there too, but I feel like to your left it was more pressing.
Well, the guy who killed me was the guy up above.
You know what? It's a team effort.
You see, when you look at the minimap, you miss the forest for the trees. You may know where enemies are.
Oh no, I
but-
saw that other guy shooting at you, but there was a guy to your left.
Oh, Jesus.
This is not a good weapon for like just peeking
Walking around with your
and
sights
walking.
up.
Yeah.
Huh?
What?
I think the
No, I don't
environment
have an
exploded
answer
around
for you.
us. I think that was environmental damage because we were moving too slow. Which makes me want to pick up the pace again and just charge in head first.
Oh, Jesus.
Mashing the F button. Mashing the F button. And I think, again, something blew up around me. You know what? Fuck it. Guns are overrated. What if I just go full melee?
Okay, so that was definitely ready to explode.
Yeah.
You know what? What if you pre-explode some of that shit before you run up there?
Well, that's a good idea.
Like around that corner, yeah, there's that.
Catch it.
Wait, hold on. Watch
Yeah,
this
there you
grenade animation. Watch where the grenade comes from.
Sure. Okay, yeah, it kind of zooms over a little to the left.
No, it's coming from center. Yeah, like it's as if it was throwing the grenade from the first-person view model.
Chew it, pencil dick.
Also, I have
Yeah,
infinite
yeah.
grenades.
No-
Look, the grenade
oh,
count's not going down. Oh, now it is.
Now it is.
It wasn't for a minute there, though. You saw that, right? Oh, I must have been standing on grenades. That's...
Okay, that would explain some things. Okay, immediately to your left is an explosive thing. So I think part of the reason you were dying was you were taking cover at the thing that was an explosive.
You know, another problem I have with this game, and you know, this might be a contributing factor, I'm gonna blame it on this for sure, is just how bad the field of view is, the field of vision, how little it is. I like having peripheral vision so I can actually see the enemies shooting me from the left and right and so forth, but that's not a slider they felt the need to include. They thought this very close-up and intimate view was good enough. And I mean, you look at the iron sights again, you're just like, wow, these motherfuckers have no sense for, like, player perspective and what is acceptable in this fucking genre. Like, if I have to give this game any credits, if I have to give them any degree of competency in terms of their design, again, can't melee that dude. It's, you know, like, the level design isn't the worst. It's not, like, great. It's not particularly exciting. The set pieces are, you know, are all just explosions. Nothing else particularly exciting ever happens in this game. But, you know, it's not the well, cool slide.
I like that slide.
Mashing the F button, mashing the F button, mashing it! Fucking completely broken. Just busted his shit.
That was your kill move. Shoot him.
Great.
That was close.
Whoop. Oh, I wish you could just stand here and more of them would just keep falling for as long as you're standing here.
High five. Oh, I see what they want me to do here. We added an explosion on top of the explosion there. Luckily, they have all these fast ropes set up for just such an occasion.
I hope this loops like PT. Oh, okay, sure.
No, I'm gonna pull you back up so that I can kill you even harder. I love how much they linger on that fucking animation, or lack thereof. I think it stopped exploding. I think we're actually okay now. Oh, no, never mind. That guy almost made it.
Do you think
Whoa,
this
look at
is,
that! Look at that motherfucker! Oh, I wish I had the scope out for that.
Do you think this installation just didn't have the budget for stairs? Is this just how you have to get around the place?
Criminally negligent. OSHA would have had a field day with this place.
Peyton wants me to wait for backup. Bullshit. As soon as them generators are back online, the sub ships out and the guidance chip goes with it. If that happens, the Soviets can chalk up the Cold War as a win. And if I make it out alive, that's just gravy.
Last mission.
Yeah, final one.
Doom on you. Take care of the guidance system once and for all. It's do or die time. We swam all the way from those frozen waters into the submarine pen, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna try not to die in this mission. I'm gonna try to take this slowly but surely so we can end on a high note without an embarrassing death montage.
Motherfucking bitch.
Well, so much for stealth.
I mean, there's not that much penalty for dying in this game.
No, but I want to at least demonstrate some competency here at the last minutes. I mean, we have an entire track record of playthroughs and streams that would, you know, indicate the counter of it, but I want to maintain some dignity here at the end of all things. Nice colored lighting in this place. Again, I had to press the F button like 15 times there to get that to work, but it ultimately did. So I guess all is forgiven with this game. What guns do we got? What choices do we have? I'll stick with the MP5. Fuck it, it's been neglected for so much of this playthrough. So, here at the end of all things, having seen this game that you've attempted to play and not been able to tolerate in the past, do you feel now? Do you feel jealous of my ability to play through this game? Or what are your takes on this?
It's making me think that, man, if I actually wanted to play through all this, I could. It's so short. Like, I heard it was short, but I didn't realize it was this short.
It's so breezy, is the great thing about it. I mean, again, $60. Oh, come on, Bethesda. But, like, if you got this on, like, steep discount for, like, $5, right? And you know what you're getting into in the year 2025.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's novel.
There's value to playing bad games.
Of course. You know, we've always... I mean, that's the mission statement of the Bad Game Hall of Fame, isn't it? And there's a lot to learn from this game. If you're someone who's interested in designing a first-person shooter of your own, great lessons to be learned here and how fucking not to do it, right? Which, you know, the most backhanded compliment that you could possibly pay anything is, you know, it's a great example of what not to do. But, like, you know, it's not wrong. It's...
Also, I am surprised that this is still available for sale on Steam.
Yeah, kind of shocking. You think they would try to bury this. They took Shell Shock 2 Blood Trails off of Steam at some point, I believe. Double check that for me.
It's not super playable, but it is purchasable. We're playing it now, but not for, you know, without the grace of God.
Just wait till Good Old Games adopts this as part of their preservation program and make sure it's functional for future generations to enjoy.
As a warning.
As a political pertinence.
You saw that Breath of Fire 4 got, like, released on GOG recently? Just
oh, yeah, I got the email about that, yeah.
Which apparently it's not a particularly good version of it, but, I mean, it's an accurate version of it. So, you know, that's not really on GOG.
What's better than accurate? All right.
Here comes the pain.
All right, you ready for the naked gun bit?
Oh, that ended way sooner than...
Ah, damn it, I died. I died for the bit, though, so it's okay. And the checkpoint was there, too, so all is forgiven, I assume.
Johnny says, it's vaguely related with the tone, cursing, and cover system. I feel like if any part of this seems interesting, check out 50 Cent Blood in the Sand instead. I wish that was more easily playable than this. And this is not easily playable.
No, it certainly isn't. I love, by the way, one of the kill animations. We put a knife through the steel helmet of that guy over there. So Dick has a real strong arm for this stuff, or a really
American
sharp
steel.
knife. Yeah. We actually have a diamond knife. No one gets away from Demo Dick Marcinko. I mean, we're gonna blow up this facility. Anyone we miss will get blown up afterwards. Spoiler alert, this level ends with an explosion, like every other fucking level in the game does. I mean, they call him Demo Dick for a reason, I guess. Do you think that's why every level ends with an explosion? He's called Demo Dick. Does anyone know why?
Maybe.
Oh, demolitions expert. Probably, right?
One would think.
Does anyone want to ask him?
Unless he was like real into demo scene shit.
Yeah, he was a prolific Amiga demo scene developer. A little known part of his history of Demo Dick's backstory.
Yeah, you're talking about everyone's going to get killed here anyway. I was watching a video from Veilfisk, I think. Did a video on one of the Star Wars, Clone Wars games on PS2. And there's this one level where one of the sub-objectives is to free all the prisoners. Because, like, a super weapon is going to come and blow up the prison camp you're in. And if you want extra points, you free all the prisoners. The thing is, if you free all the prisoners, there is literally no way for them to get away from the explosion that kills everything.
Well, at least they have freedom in their last moments. They died unshackled. And isn't that good enough?
I just think it would have been more appropriate if, like, you know, the mission thing is checked off, and then they all die, and then it just goes, oh well, and then X's it out.
Best intentions.
Catch it.
Blow something
that guy is
up.
That one guy is real good at avoiding explosions.
He's still alive! I shot the barrels immediately behind him! What is with the explosions in this game? Fuck it. Come on. I'll just keep my head poked out so that y'all are encouraged to, like, pop out of cover and shoot me. I'll do what I have to do. Nah, fuck it. I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah, that's K.I.S.S.
Love this MP5. When it works, it works. When I'm trying to hit something like that... There we fucking go.
Fuckers suck ass.
Oh! Alright. Around the corner, up the elevator. Oh, gotta press the button too, I guess. Other elevators, I swear, were automated previously in this game. Too late to change the rules, dick. They really want me to snipe during this last part? Yeah, sure, fuck it, whatever. Or wait. Well, we could choose either the shotgun or the sniper rifle, both equally applicable to whatever situation we're about to get ourselves into. I hate how they couldn't... I'm presuming that they didn't know how to program putting individual shells into a shotgun, which is why both the SPAS-12 and this gun just have inexplicable fucking magazines on them. Just because they were so fucking lazy as to not want to have, like, a proper shotgun reload system. I mean, that's part of the appeal of using a shotgun in a video game, is the ability to be like, well, I only need like the 2 rounds for the 2 shells for these 2 enemies, so I won't do like a full reload here. I'll do a partial reload. But you know, you're just deprived that right.
That's not gonna kill. Oh, I fully expected that not to kill him just because the grenades in this game.
I mean, it was a fair assumption. But you know, that's Rebellion developments, always surprising you.
Yeah, keeping you on your toes.
Also, I picked up this gun and it's already missing bullets from in the magazine. Leave it.
Someone had a little fun before they put it away. They're like, no one will notice if I just shoot a few rounds first for fun.
As a treat.
It's like when you order a DoorDash and you like some of your fries are missing.
Whoopsies. All right, I think this is the last section. I think this is the last checkpoint. I think this is the end. Are you fucking kidding me? Did you see that shit?
Just one for the road.
There was nothing but blue skies ahead of me. Again.
Animation priority. That door isn't really open until it's all the way open.
But no, I'm the asshole for thinking Rebellion developments weren't good at making games. No, I'm the jerk-off for thinking these guys were a bunch of fucking hacks.
Yeah, I can't help but notice the grenades in third-person thing now.
It's hard not to notice.
I thought they were being thrown and then, like, getting teleported a little bit to the left, but no, they are coming from where you would be throwing them if you were in first person.
Which one of you cocksuckers ordered the special?
Me.
That'd
this
be me.
cocksuck right here.
Yeah, delivery for me, thank you. Sorry, no tip. Times are tough. Well, that problem took care of itself.
comes the boom.
I would like a voice come over the intercom and just go, "Everything is fine. This is good, actually.
Don't panic. Remain at your posts.
We are trying to find a way to turn off the alarm. This was an error."
See, the enemies aren't taking seriously because this is the day they were testing the fire alarm.
Yeah. This was one of the red cell tests.
Oh, yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah. This is all Demo Dick's way of, like, you know, offering his services to the Russians. He was trying to turn turncoats. American traitor Dick Marcinko. See, aren't you glad he's dead now?
He was filming this whole thing, and he was like, "Now look how easy it was for me to come in and destroy your entire infrastructure.
Look at me. I destroyed your missile program, but I'm willing to offer my services."
There's a guy, like, right on your...
Look, I'm just a pure sociopath. I honestly don't care who I'm killing as long as I'm, you know, getting paid for it. So it's... Fuck. And if my name is in Demo Dick Marcinko... Oh, out of ammo. I guess we'll finish this with our pistol after all. Our weapon of choice. Alright. Anybody here? Oh.
This is it, isn't it?
Yep. And... time.
Swim to America.
Oh, thank God our backup is here. Grand total of 4 guys on a boat.
Party's over. What took you motherfuckers so long?
Well, shit. Looks like we got all dressed up for nothing.
Present for Admiral Payton. Tell him it's evidence for the defense in my court-martial.
You got it. I heard the commies cost you 2 good men, Commander. I'm sorry.
Not as sorry as those motherfuckers.
Aw, he did it all for love. He did it all for the love of his men, of his 2 guys. He's actually admirable after all.
Ninja style.
Here we go.
I'm gonna bring it to him. I'm gonna show him what time it is. Good spot.
And let's talk over it after I
Okay.
play my fucking windscreen. Again, you know, this song was funny the first time, but it's just stitched together quotes of Mickey Rourke from the game set to a rap beat.
This was actually part of Mickey Rourke's rider. He demanded that this be in the game.
Look, I'm trying to get in the hip-hop game, and you're gonna help me. Yeah, I almost won an Academy Award. I'm going for the Grammy next. I want to be an EGOT.
This end theme definitely seems like a real desperate development team to me. Like, we need to find some joy in our lives. We need to do something. This sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the impression that I get, is that people, as part of Rebellion Derby, knew their days were numbered, knew the projects they were getting assigned were not the priority projects, to say the least. Morale was low. The impression I get is that it was a pretty grim fucking picture for people working on this game and Shell Shock 2 and whatever other stuff they were up to at that time. So yeah, any bit of levity they could add, anything they can squeeze in that people, you know, try to send the folk home, if not happy, at least chuckling.
Yeah, like, for as much as, you know, we can shit on these games, and for good reason, there's still people behind these games who have to do grunt work and stuff.
Sure. Like, you know, for as much as I can mock and make fun of how badly designed this game is, and it is, I also understand that it was designed under some amount of duress by a team that absolutely did not sign up for it. Because the Kingsley brothers, of the Rebellion Developments, the heads of Rebellion Developments, signed a contract and made a deal to turn a game around as under budget and as quickly as was conceivably possible. So, I mean, like, what are you supposed to do when you're developing this game and, like, maybe, like, as much as 6 months was probably like the most time that would have been allocated to this project, which is fucking nothing.
Goddamn duck breath coming, motherfuckers! You fucking asshole! You fucking pig farmers! Drop dead, motherfucker!
I would like to see like an anime girl studying for an exam over this music.
You fucking shit-eating pig!
Oh, man. Kicking ass and taking names, the name of this track, by the way. Thank you, Mark Lampert, in the voice of Mickey Rourke. Special thanks to Richard Marcinko.
I'm gonna show them what time it is.
Oy vey.
I'll do it.
That will,
For
in
this.
fact, do it. Oh, let's check multiplayer. Maybe someone is,
What if, right? Oh, rank for sure. Gotta.
Do we want
Gotta play
deathmatch or
for
team
real.
deathmatch? Do we? Ooh, boxcar.
We have at least one player here, so that's good. Good start.
We only need 7 more. We need a full lobby to play this game. You can't play it with less than 8. At least in the ranked mode. Maybe the player match mode lets you do less. Get away with less. But one of these days, I will actually get to play the multiplayer in this game for myself rather than just watching YouTube footage of it and then piecing it together from that. Yeah, I think I'll leave the lobby, unfortunately. Maybe next time? No progression in this. No shoehorned in progression at the very least, so
There
they at
is
least knew not
ranked.
to do that.
There is ranked, but no progression.
Oh yeah, I know that was for their esports scene, for the
Yeah.
the MLG league in this game. Are you sure you want to quit from Rogue Warrior? Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Oy vey. Well, let's show up on screen, why don't we? Oh, and let me.
A little
That is-
off.
Yeah. A little more. There we go. Yeah, I guess time for final thoughts on the game, as is customary, even though we kind of did address most of it over the course of the playthrough. I would still say, despite everything, despite the fact that you have now, by listening to this part, have presumably watched our full playthrough of this game, I still recommend, if you can get it for free or for $1, it is a brief romp, a short romp. And it has its moments, ironically. I don't know, it's so breezy, it's hard to get like mad about it until you remember that it cost $60.
I think this is an ideal bad game to play because it is short. It is not that difficult, all things considered.
Yeah, ultimately.
It is funny in the ways that it fails at times. It's a very easy to get into bad game, except for the part where you try to make it run on a modern PC. That part's
rough. So maybe get it on
Yeah.
360 or PS3, I guess. And like
Yeah, if you have PlayStation Plus, if you have the tier that lets you do streaming games, you can play this.
Oh,
on
that's
your
probably the perfect
PS5.
way. That's probably the ideal. If you have that, that's probably the best way to approach this game, to get your hands on this and play it. And I was just thinking that, what's so wonderful about this game is that it is so irrevocably tied to the legacy of Dick Marcinko. And it is such, despite being a game meant to glorify him and portray him as the protagonist, the hero, an honorable man, and it is such a character assassination. And what's so funny is that Dick Marcinko, approved this. He wholeheartedly endorsed the kill moves and the dialogue. I think there's even some other line where they say, Dick's actually more vulgar than we let on in the game. I mean, all he does is curse. And just, reading those bits and knowing the man and his history as a confidence man, as a pathological liar about his own service, it is so funny that he got a whole video game about himself, and it just happens to be, one of the most historically reviled first-person shooters of all time. It is the perfect capper to this dead doofus's legacy, and I couldn't be happier about that. All offense intended to the Marcinko estate, if there is such a thing. And again, it's just for those reasons, for reasons such as that, for the amount of joy this game has brought me, for the fact that, you know, it got me some inside scoops at a point in time, that the article that we posted so long ago has generated so much traffic for us, and hopefully this video will as well. Hopefully this stream archive and so forth will also do numbers for us. But it's just a game that I keep coming back to, that has brought me so much joy at the game's expense. So I don't know. It's hard for me to hate it. It's hard for me to find hate and contempt in my heart for this game, bearing all that in mind, which again, entirely 1000% backhanded compliments to it. But a backhanded compliment is still a compliment nonetheless. Do you have any final thoughts before we bring this to a close, Charky?
I think I said my bit. That I think that if you have access to this, especially if you have the PlayStation Plus thing, that this is worth a try. If you want to, you know, get a feel of a relatively fun bad game. Because, like I said, we both, but especially me, always champion the idea of, like, play bad games. Try games like this for yourself. And if you have easy access to this, then, you know, what's the harm in trying it?
For sure. Yeah, I guess on that note, folks, thank you for watching us play through Rogue Warrior and then sitting through the history and all the other parts of this particular episode. Again, I had a great time tonight. Very fun night, in my personal opinion. And hey, if you enjoyed yourself, I'd hope so after watching for 3 hours. If you enjoyed what you saw here, join our Discord server, discord.gg/bghof. It's our community Discord server, the game room, community connoisseurs. Join us for hangouts, so on and so forth. Maybe one of these days we'll get a Rogue Warrior multiplayer night going, and we'd love to have folk from the community on board for that.
Do that along with the homecoming night.
If you really like what you saw here tonight, you might consider pledging on Patreon, subscribing on Twitch, becoming a member on YouTube, financially supporting the show. If you choose to, you will gain access on our Discord server to the Patreon Saints channel, wherein we put up polls, field suggestions for games, generally allow our those members to help steer the direction of the show, as well as gaining access to some exclusive VODs for our casual streams, some exclusive episodes of the Bad Game Hall of Fame podcast coming up, podcast.badgamehalloffame.com, working to further incentivize folk who see fit to financially support us and so forth. If you cannot financially support us at this current juncture, believe you me, we understand. Consider instead sharing videos from our suggested viewing playlist over on YouTube, 20 handpicked episodes that we think make for pretty solid onboarding onto this show of ours. Or maybe you know someone who's a special ops tier 1 operator who will learn something from this playthrough of Rogue Warrior. We'll learn what advanced tactics really look like. Might fucking learn a thing or two from Commando Cassidy over here. We leave it to your discretion, dear viewer. Stream schedule coming up. We don't have...
Done.
I tell you what, I think Thursday, that's going to be May 1st. Let's do a chance time. We still need to come up with a poll. We still need to put a poll up for our patrons to vote on. I think we have an idea of what the theme for the next patron poll is going to be. So we'll hopefully introduce that soon. But I think for this coming Thursday, what would usually be our patron playthrough night, I think we'll just do a fun little chance time, since it's the first of the month. That seems like as good a time as any for it. Saturday, May 3rd, no idea. Theme night, variety night of some sort, I will report, most likely. Monday, that'd be May 5th. Casual Mondays, every Monday. From this point forward, join us for a less structured sort of night, more fun, more casual, more breezy. not necessarily bad games either. So we're trying to expand our horizons a little bit and maybe not torture ourselves night in and night out. Though tonight was pretty good. Tonight was good for me, folks. So, but it usually is when we have a first-person shooter to play. I'm kind of biased in that way. And then as for next Tuesday, who knows? We'll figure something out by then. I'm sure by the 6th. Shit, that's all I got as far as announcements are concerned. Which I reckon that means that we have a raid left to send. Let me take a quick look at who's streaming right now that we happen to be following. I see Liz Star is playing Sorry We're Closed.
Yeah, that game's cool. I played the demo of that.
Very cool. So if you want a cool game, I mean, I know Dick Marcinko is pretty cool, folks. I know this was a pretty cool playthrough featuring a cool guy doing cool stuff. So if you want further coolness, please do follow and rating Liz Star. Let him know the Bad Game Hall of Fame sent you. So on, so forth. That will do it for us here at the Bad Game Hall of Fame.
Oh, remember, the way YouTube works is we can't curse in the last minute of the video either.
Well, shit. Well, now I need to buy us another 30 seconds.
Yeah, let's vamp for a little bit, folks. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, we got the podcast. You can email that podcast.
All right, let's start the plug over from the top.
Podcast at badgamehalloffame.com. Send in those questions. Okay.
I think we're fine. I think we'll be in the clear. I have been Demo Dick Cassidy. I couldn't think of someone with a C.
And I've been Goat gently caressing. No, I can't go with that. That's horrible. I've been with Goat. Just Goat. Turkey.
The goat. The goat Sharky.
The goat,
what a disaster. What a
I was trying to go up with something awful reference, but it would sound really bad if I put my name at the end of it.
Anyway, bye.
Good night, everybody.